Hello everyone, welcome to What If Deku Was the Last Heir of the Uzumaki Clan, the only Jinchuuriki Part 1. Before we start, please go support NerdyHollow for writing that awesome fanfic. Centuries after the Fourth Great Ninja War, the time of shinobi ends. After an era ends, another comes. This era was the superhuman society. Even after the end of shinobi era, one family, one clan survived, Uzumaki clan. The clan continued to protect the sacred knowledge of lost era until one predecessor decided to disband the clan, and make only his family carry on the sacred arts after him. In time, the family name kept changing from Hyuga, Hagoromo, Senju, and then in the end Shimura. The story follows our main protagonist Izuku Shimura, son of Hisashi Shimura and Inko Shimura, former Midoriya. His life would be calm and it would seem as if everything will be alright. However, that would be far from the truth. Chapter 1: The Beginning. 800 years after the Fourth Great Ninja War, shinobis died due to drastic events throughout those years. Even though chakra exists, there is not a single person who can use it as same as before. The tailed beast survived through various incidents in those years with no one knowing their existence. The history was lost, the techniques were lost, everything since the destruction of the 5 great villages were lost. At least that is how it appeared to be to public. Oh, how wrong they were. Global historians, archaeology groups couldn't fill in the shinobi era due to lack of evidence, historical remains. Because a sole surviving clan collected and guarded the remains through generation after generation. During those years, due to some strange phenomenon, people started to acquire strange powers, different from the era of shinobi. They called it quirk. Due to sudden appearance of quirks, people started to use their power for various reasons: money, fame, all the selfish desires. But there are always light and dark times. Among the catastrophe, there were people who wanted to use their power for selfless acts. They called them by 2 names: vigilantes, heroes. The family that protected the sacred techniques from the era of shinobis, they kept themselves away from the conflicts of the world. They cut ties from society to keep themselves away from power-hungry eyes around the world. The family would develop quirks as the lineage continued. They always looked for a successor to inherit the ninja ways. And another thing. Their family name was Uzumaki, a sole surviving clan from shinobi era. But through generations their family name changed because they would only have one child in order to not create competition among siblings and causing them to spread their knowledge with no supervision, although it was not the case few generations ago. We now go to this family, who are training their youngest successor, Izuku. Izuku, 13 years old, panting rapidly to catch his breath, both hands on knees, huff, huff, stand straight, hands on waist, tired. Inko, standing in front of him overlooking his progress: you are doing great, son, you know your chakra nature, sealing techniques, taijutsu, genjutsu, senjutsu are more than on exceptional level. Even though you are 13, I think you are ready. Starts walking, signaling Izuku to follow her. Izuku, following her: what do you mean, mother? Inko, leading: you know the tale of all tailed beasts, right? Izuku, yes, they are separation of the 10 tails, or known as God Tree. Tree that sucked the nature energy of its surrounding for Otsutsuki clan. Inko, do you think they still exist? Izuku, I think they are dormant somewhere out there, living freely as they always wanted, without being trapped inside people to be used as weapons. Inko nods as they continue to walk through the dim-lit corridors in their house. Inko stops in front of a room. We are here. Opens it to see there is a teleportation circle. Izuku, where are we going? By the look of this seal, we are going somewhere far. Inko, I want you to meet someone. Goes into the circle. Izuku stands beside her, then activates his sage mode. Inko activates creation rebirth technique and the seal. Even though my control of creation rebirth is not refined like Tsunade Senju's, it should suffice for this travel. They get transferred to a dark cave. Only light sources there are torches on the wall illuminating the cave with their orange embers. As Izuku is observing his surroundings, his mother starts walking ahead. Izuku sees her walking away and follows her silently. Few moments later, Inko stops and so does Izuku. Then they hear, "Ah, Inko, you have come." Inko, yes, I brought my son here for that matter. Izuku is very uneasy since the voice was very ominous, and he can sense vast amount of chakra from the direction of the voice. He doesn't even need the senjutsu in order to feel the presence of this being. Oh? Is he suitable? Is he ready? Inko, yes, Gyuki the eight-tailed beast. Bows. Gyuki, face comes into view to get a better look at Izuku. You are strong for a teenager. Even back in the day it is rare to encounter such young kid with this much chakra pool. Izuku was baffled. He always wanted to meet one of the tailed beasts to hear what they know. Izuku, nervous it is a pleasure to meet you. Sir bows swiftly. Gyuki, no need to be nervous young one. I am not aggressive as I appear to be or in history. Stands tall. As Gyuki stands, the whole cave shakes as if it is intimidated by the great tailed beast. Gyuki, now do you know why you are here? Izuku stands straight. I really have no idea. Shifts his eyes to his mother. Inko, Lord Gyuki requested to be sealed in you the moment you were born, and I believe you are ready to get a new partner. Izuku's facial expression changed from surprise to determined in moments. Izuku, is there any trial? Gyuki, of course, but since you are little, there is a condition. Raises his hand, sticking out his forefinger. Izuku, that is? Gyuki, if you manage to scar me, I will deem you strong. But if you don't, lowers his hand to the ground, I will eat one of your legs. There was a moment of silence. You could hear their water dropping in the distance. Then, Izuku, shouts H. Inko puts her hand on her mouth to hide her smile and giggle. Izuku is curled up on the ground, facing the opposite direction from Gyuki, having conflicted thoughts such as, should I do it? I could just use Hiration to get out of here and pretend it never happened. But if I scar him, I would have a great-tailed beast as a partner. Then it dawned on him. As he realized something, he asked a question from the ox. Izuku, Hachibi-san, why do you want to be sealed inside a human? I thought you wanted peace and rest from us humans? Gyuki, stroking his chin, I guess I grew quite fond of you humans when I was inside B and Naruto. Izuku, do you mean you want a friend? Looking at him confused. As he said that, Gyuki's eyes widened momentarily. He didn't encounter a person like this after his former Jinchuuriki and Naruto. Gyuki chuckles, I guess so. Izuku took some seconds before smiling and replying. Izuku, then, even if I can't scar you and lose a leg, I will be your friend. It is a sacrifice I can give in order to be friends with the great eight tails. Gyuki, now then, starts charging Bijudama. Inko, quickly, body flickers far away from any attack range. Izuku starts to panic. Oh, it is starting, doing hand seals. Gyuki sends his Bijudama. Izuku, enormous spider thread-like seals appear in front of Izuku, then it starts to absorb the Bijudama. When it was fully gone, Izuku positions his kunai with Hiration seal in front. The seal is different. Then suddenly, the Bijudama Gyuki sent lands close to Gyuki. Gyuki grunts while making distance from the explosion. Hiration? And it is on. Yellow flashes. Level 2 looks to Izuku's direction to see he is gone. Where did he put the seal? I don't think he had the opportunity to. As Gyuki was about to finish his sentence in his mind, Izuku appears in front of him with a Rasen Shuriken and his own Senjutsu Scorch Release. Rasen Shuriken throws it. Gyuki wraps himself with his tentacles and rotates. Gyuki, Rasen Shuriken? Chuckles. He is indeed Naruto's descendant. As Gyuki's rotation created massive shock wave, the Rasen Shuriken's course changed, hitting the ceiling of the cave, making a hole. As the sun shone through the hole, Gyuki's eye started to have hard time adjusting to the light. When his sight cleared, he saw Izuku flying in front, preparing a jutsu. As he opens his hands, there was glowing white diamond shape appears. Izuku, dust release, atomic dismantling jutsu. Gyuki, eyes wide and oh shit. As Izuku's jutsu connects, cloud of dust erupts at where Gyuki was. Izuku, panic Waha Octopop starts flying to the cloud of dust. As he was closing in at incredible speed, from the dust cloud big tentacle advances towards Izuku. Izuku dodges and makes a distance from the dust cloud. Izuku is levitating in a distance, waiting for the dust to settle. Gyuki Swats the cloud of dust, revealing himself with 3 clean-cut tails. You are exceptional, kid. You have dust release, as well, huh? Laughs. As Gyuki is laughing, Inko comes to where Izuku is floating. Inko, Izuku, come down. Izuku looks back to Inko. Oh, hi. Descends. Gyuki stops laughing. I know that was not your full capability, young one. Izuku smiles awkwardly. Well, you're right. It's weird, my nature releases are earth, fire, wind, and lightning. And I can use dust release, boiling lava release, scorch release, and blaze release. Gyuki, interesting. I never heard someone being able to use that many Kekkei Genkai. You are a very special young one. As they settle down, Gyuki speaks up. Gyuki, well, Izuku Shimura, are you ready to become a Jinchuuriki of the 8-tailed beast, Gyuki? Izuku smiles. I am Octo-san. Gyuki chuckles. This kid really reminds me of Naruto. Looks to Inko and nods, saying, Inko, we are ready. Inko, Izuku, you ready? Izuku nods in response. Inko does hand signs Magatama sealing jutsu. As she recites the jutsu's name, a seal appears on Izuku's abdomen. From that seal, set of chains fly at Gyuki, trapping him in place. Inko does a ram seal with one hand and the chains start pulling Gyuki into Izuku. As the sealing was done, Inko used a key to the seal. As the sealing was getting done, Izuku hears a voice in his head. Gyuki, Izuku Shimura. He gets pulled into his mind space. Izuku smiles. Octo-san. Now the scene changes to Izuku, 14 years old. Even though they are on remote island far away from the mainland, he placed a Haracian tag in an alleyway to get to the cities. Inko found out that he goes to the cities when he was 11, an age when Izuku learned Haracian jutsu from one of thousands of scrolls. Inko was happy that her son could learn such complicated jutsu at such young age, and even though she didn't want him to, she allowed Izuku to go to the cities whenever he has free time. Izuku was walking around the streets of Nizadafu, billboards, big screens showing the news, busy streets with cars and pedestrians. Izuku had a quirk like any other. It is an intellectual quirk that allows him to learn 15 times faster than fastest thinking human in history and memorize it perfectly. He was always grateful that he had such quirk, because without his quirk it would have taken him his whole life to get to his current level of knowledge. Izuku, walking around, hands in pocket. Gyuki, Izuku. Izuku, still walking. Yes, Octo-san. Gyuki, what do you plan to do with your knowledge and strength? Izuku, I guess I could lie about my quirk and get into a hero school. Gyuki, the job you said is now possible to every people because of this quirk you said? Izuku, yeah, it is well paid, even though I don't care for the money. You help people, using the power that was gifted to you for innocence, the ill-treated or the unfortunate ones. Gyuki, I guess that is, in a way, similar to ninjas back in the day, of course not entirely. Izuku, it is because of the few similarities. I wanted to be a hero when I was 3 years old. I would observe their fights, break it down and such. But I was never set on being one since I was far away from land. How could I get into the city? So I started studying ninjutsu when I was 7. Gyuki, but you can now, can't you? Izuku, yeah, I want to help people by being a hero. I don't really see any other way than that. Gyuki, it is nice to see that you want to help the ones that need it. Izuku, I am happy that you think that. Gyuki, if you want to go down a path of righteousness, I will support you along the way. Hey, even if I was against it, what can I do other than support you? Izuku, thank you, Octo-san. As Izuku thought that, he hears an explosion far away. He looks the direction where it came from to see mass of black smoke. Izuku, Octo-san, what can you sense? Gyuki, I can sense 2 people in exact same spot, and a lot surrounding them. Some have more than average chakra level. Izuku starts doing parkour to where he saw the explosion, probably heroes trying to alleviate the situation. After a minute or so, Izuku gets to the scene to see moss-colored slime-like villain holding a teenager hostage who seems to have explosion quirk. Izuku, crouched down at an edge of a building assessing the situation. Should I help? Gyuki, you said it is illegal to use quirks in public, so even though we use Tailed Beast Cloak, it would give us away if you want to enroll in some hero school. Izuku clicks his tongue tch. Even though I have the power to help, because of weight I can use transformation jutsu and help him using only scorch release. Gyuki, then hurry Izuku, I can feel that kid's conscious diminishing as we speak. Izuku, hand signs transformation jutsu. Transforms to Izumi Miyamura. Izuku body flickers in front of the sludge. Sludge, what is a key? Izuku, hand signs scorch release, great steaming spheres. Civilian, kid wait. Death arms, it's dangerous. Lunges in. Izuku looks back to see a girl running to them, with desperation in her eyes. Fireballs that resembles sun rotates around Izuku at rapid speed, evaporating the sludge, thus freeing the kid. Ga quickly retreats. On all fours, coughing out the sludge. There was steam everywhere, blocking the vision for everyone around the two. Looks up to see a shadow of a figure, not being able to see his face. Can only see a shadow. Izuku uses Hiration 150 meters away from that location, then transforms. Hope no one saw me. Even if they did, they wouldn't know it was me anyways. After some time, Izuku was walking in the streets, taking in the view of suburban district in the afternoon as the sun paints the earth in golden colors. He sees All Might halting to stop in front of a girl he saw at the incident. All Might, I am here. Izuku quickly body flickers to a hearing range. All Might? I thought you were going home. All Might, I wanted to. Deflates, spewing blood. Izuku was taken back. He didn't know All Might was actually skinny old guy with sharp blue eyes, blonde hair with two long strands falling in front of his face. Izuku, what the? He is actually this skinny and terrifying? Not to mention he looks old enough to be a grandfather of a month or 2 years old infant. Izuku then notices one thing. His chakra was blocked at the side of his abdomen. Gyuki, guess he received an injury few years ago. The girl was not panicking like he did. Izuku, that girl is not surprised. Do they know each other? I mean, their hair color are almost the same. All Might, I wanted to correct my mistake and give you an advice. No, it was my fault anyways. I shift downwards. If I hadn't held on to you there, Ka-chan would have been okay. All Might and Izuku, is that the boy's name? Nickname maybe? Gyuki, sounds childish, could mean they've known each other since little. Izuku, nods, seems so. Shifts her eyes to All Might, and you were right. A quirkless someone like me will just be a burden for heroes and police alike. Izuku, All Might said that? That is not a nice thing to say. Gyuki, nods. Number one hero discouraging next generation. What a phony. Izuku, isn't that a little harsh? All Might, well, seeing you running into danger motivated me, but guess we were both late. There was silence for a short time between the two blondes. All Might, look, all great heroes leave legends from their school days, and they end it with these words. My body reacted before I could think. Starts to tear up and loses footing. All Might, in a soft voice, that was your thought right then, right? Holding her chest, crying out loud. All Might, young girl, you can become a hero. Izuku smiles. I am happy that she heard probably what no one ever said to her in her life. Gyuki, she seems like having extreme amount of emotions. All Might raises both hands, looking up. You deserve to inherit my power. Stops and looks up confused. Izuku and Gyuki, confused, eh? Inherit your power? All Might laughs. You should see your face. It's a suggestion. Walks toward her. Now let's talk. Stops. Gyuki, can a quirkless inherit a quirk from another person? Izuku, it wasn't recorded publicly, but maybe. Gyuki sees his face. He seems very interested. All Might raises his hand, pointing his index finger upwards. What I am saying is swiftly lowers his hand, pointing at her while spewing blood. Do you want to accept my power? Gaka. What is All Might talking about? Izuku, will that also be inherited? Because if so, I wouldn't accept it unless I am desperate. Remembers her look of desperation. Izuku's expression becomes stoic, and Gyuki was silent. Seeing Izuku like this is very rare for him. All Might wipes his mouth. I am talking about my power, young girl. The tablets say my quirk is strength, or boost. I've evaded the question with a joke on interviews before. Izuku, that is true, no one knows All Might's quirk in detail. His fans and theorists always debate about it. All Might, the symbol of peace, needed to be a natural-born hero. Izuku quietly scoffs, it is not comic or fantasy, no one is a born hero. If everyone knew that, people like her would be motivated to follow the path of heroism. All Might, but young girl, I'm going to tell you the truth. Motions his hands, then opens them wide. My quirk was passed on to me like a sacred torch. Surprise, passed on to you? Izuku and Gyuki, silently paying close attention. All Might, yes, and next, it is your turn. But wait a minute. Your quirk has been debated as being one of the 7 wonders of the world. It's always on the net. But I don't understand what you mean by passing on a quirk. Not only is it unheard of, but nobody's never brought it up before. Starts rambling on. Izuku chuckles, she is a thinker, I like that. For a girl who is going to inherit such power, she should be smart and quick to think. Gyuki, that is, if she decides to inherit it. Izuku smiles, if what All Might said is true, that she is a great hero to be, she will accept this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. All Might, looking at her, you always start with a denial. Looks up, nonsense. Why? All Might, I have a lots of secret, but I never lie. The power that transfers power. That is the quirk I inherited. Sticks his hand to the front, and it starts to light up. Izuku and Gyuki's eyes widen. Izuku and Gyuki, what the? Izuku, Octo-san, can you feel it? Gyuki nods, that is a lot of chakra, and it seems that is still amassing more. Izuku, now that you said it, it is a pure energy like nature energy. But oddly not. All Might, which is crowned with the name, One for All. Izuku and Gyuki, One for All, / One for All? All Might, yes, one person gains power and passes it to another, who gains it and passes it again. This power is the fruit of the many voices seeking help. Light diminishes and clenches his hand and heroic hearts. It's so important, so why? Leans forward, why would you do that for me? All Might lowers his hand, I was originally looking for an heir, and I thought if it was you, I could give my powers. Though quirkless, you dashed in. Almost getting evaporated, at that moment you showed bravery and courage of a true hero. Starts tearing up again. All Might, in a playful voice, just kidding, but it's really up to you. How about it? Izuku, Octo-san, do you think average person with quirk in this era can handle that much energy? Gyuki, humans are more limited these days, so their power is like a half glass of water. If he was to give that power to what you call an ordinary person with a quirk, it will kill that person. Izuku, but for quirkless, their energy is already empty glass with no water. So if they were to get that much energy, their capability and range would rise as time goes. Grips her skirt, he gave me those words, and even shared his important secrets. Are there any? Wiping her tears, there can't be. And Izuku, there are no reasons to say no. Stands up, then looks determined, yes, please. All Might, what a quick reply. I knew you'd make the right decision. Izuku then gets out from his spot, making his way to them as he transforms into what he looked like at the incident. All Might and the girl hears footsteps. They shifts their eyes to the source of the sound to see Izuku in his transformed form. Izuku, well, smiles, looks like it is going to be a one heck of a journey for you. The girl and All Might gasp in surprise. Izuku, did transforms yo. All Might and EHHHHH? Chapter 2, Interactions. Izuku then gets out from his spot, making his way to them as he transforms into what he looked like at the incident. All Might and the girl hears footsteps. They shifts their eyes to the source of the sound to see Izuku transformed. Izuku, well, smiles, looks like it is going to be a one heck of a journey for you. The girl and All Might gasp in surprise. Izuku, did transforms yo. All Might and EHHHHH? Izuku, laughing his stomach out, you should see the look on your faces. Continues to laugh. All Might, why, young boy, how much did you hear? All Might asks nervously, could he have heard about his secret? Izuku puts his hand up, gesturing him to wait till he calms down. After a minute of laughing, he settles down. Izuku, that was so funny. Seeing the number one panicking and shouting, who knew you were capable of such a funny face, All Might. Ha ha ha. All Might, young boy, how much did you hear? Izuku, All of it, smiles wide. All Might, eh? Izuku, relax, All Might. I won't say any of this to a single soul. All Might, do you promise, young boy? Izuku chuckles and smiles. I promise. I don't have friends to tell anyways. There was silence between them that you could even hear stray cats fighting further in the distance. All Might and, eh? Is it really something so little that you can smile about? Izuku shifts his eyes to her, smile still present. Yes. All Might, well, what is your name, young boy? Izuku extends his hand with a smile. Shimura Izuku. All Might, eyes widen as he sees his master's smile in him. Izuku, confused, Are you alright, All Might? All Might clears his throat. Yes, takes his hand. Nice to meet you, young Shimura. Izuku, honor is mine, so looks too? Shyly looks away. Izuku extends his hands to her. What is your name? Wa. Sees his hand hanging in front of her. No one my age was this nice to me before. H does know I am Quirkless, right? Hesitantly takes a tea. Toga Himiko. Izuku smiles. Cute name for someone who is going to be All Might's successor. Toga slightly blushes and looks away. Nobody has complimented me before. All Might, young boy, you were the one from earlier, right? Izuku looks back with cold look. Yes. Is he going to report me? Why did I admit it? All Might, I won't report you, since you saved that kid and her from getting hurt. Izuku, just staring at him. All Might, you where did that energy from before go? Looks to Himiko. Young girl, let's meet up tomorrow at Takoba Municipal Beach Park. Toga, leans to the left to have a full view of All Might. Why? All Might, to train. Young Toga turns around. Well, I better get going. Starts walking while waving. See you tomorrow. All Might leaves and there are only Izuku and Toga at that street. Toga doesn't know what to do, and she was starting to get nervous. Toga, you Izuku smiles. It's late. I will escort you before I go home. Toga, eh? Izuku gestures. Lead the way. Toga, you Izuku, I won't do anything to you, Toga-san. Toga, I guess he did save me and Kachan from that guy with a sludge quirk. Oh, okay. Starts walking. Izuku, following a meter behind her. It was getting dark. The street lights turned on few minutes ago when they were walking to Toga's neighborhood. They reach where Himiko lives. It happens to be a very normal suburban house in a quiet and peaceful neighborhood. Toga, I hear is where I live, turns around and bows. Thank you for escorting me. Izuku smiles. Hey, no worries, can't let a girl walk alone in the dark. Especially when there are many criminals with quirks out there. Toga looks down sad. So he just followed me because I am quirkless. Izuku, even quirkless person could have jumped you. It doesn't matter if you or villains are quirkless, it just depends on them, right? Toga, looks up. Izuku, besides that, I just wanted to make sure that you got home safe and sound. Turns around and walks while waving. See you around, I guess, great successor. Toga, what type of quirk does he have? Snaps out of it and goes inside. When Himiko walked inside, and a woman's voice can be heard. From the kitchen. Himiko? Is that you? Toga, taking her shoes off. Yeah, it's me, Mom. Toga's mother comes around the corner and asks worriedly, where have you been, Himiko? I was starting to get worried. You can't be out at this hour. Toga takes her shoes off. Sorry for worrying you, Mom. Hugs her mom. I came across something along the way. Breaks the hug, smiling, but still holding her. But you don't need to worry. Toga's mom, she is smiling. I don't think I've seen her smile these days. Gives her a warm smile. Good for you, my little princess. Toga pouts. Mama, I am not a child anymore. Toga's mom giggles to me. You will always be my little princess. Hugs her. I don't know what made you happy, but I am glad that you are my child. Toga, muffled. Mama can't breath. Toga's mom, snaps out of it, and releases her "oh sorry Himiko." Toga, "No worries mama." Starts walking to her room. "Did you make food? Do you need help?" Toga's mom, behind her, "No need, I just finished, and I got your favorite dessert while coming home." Himiko gasps. She hurriedly leaves her backpack in her room and dashes to the kitchen to see her most favorite dessert on the dining table. Toga, "Pomegranate cake." Looking at it from all angles while drooling. Toga's mom brings the main dish. She giggles as she's seeing her daughter drooling a river. Toga's mom, "Come on Himiko, you have to eat the main dish, then the cake." Toga groans cutely, "Why can't I just eat the whole cake?" Toga's mom, "Firstly, when you did that last time, you whined about not going to eat a single cake for the rest of your life while groaning and vomiting. Second, if you do it again, has a menacing aura." Himiko's mother turns her head slowly to Himiko. She could swear that she can hear creaking. Himiko's mom, "You won't get cake ever again, understood?" Toga, frightened, "High. Mama is scary. I bet she can scare the life out of anyone when she is mad." They have a lovely daughter-mom evening, eating, laughing, having a normal conversation after an eventful day. While that was going on our Jinchuuriki side, Izuku slides open the door without opening his eyes. "I'm home." He opens his eyes, then he sees Inko, smiling a bitter smile. "Where was lovely my son at this late hour?" Izuku instantly closes the door and stands there. "Octo-san." "Gyuki, Izuku looks back to Gyuki with no hope on his face. "I am dead, aren't I?" Gyuki pauses for a moment. "Gyuki, the outcome from this is that you will be grounded and given all the chores for a long time." Izuku, "The worst case scenario?" He pauses again. "Gyuki, it was nice knowing you for a year." Izuku, face goes pale. "Me too." Octo-san inhales deeply. When he opens the door again, he can see Inko is standing there, arms crossed, eyes shining white color of nothingness while her whole body was darkened. She was emitting breath-choking thick aura that made Izuku swallow lump in his throat audibly. That night a scream of agony was heard throughout all Japan. All Might, who was in his home after the exhausting day, heard a faint scream from the island's direction. All Might HM? Chapter 3, Explanation. It has been 2 months since Izuku met Toga and All Might. Izuku is going to the beach that All Might mentioned to Toga with his hands interlocked behind his head. Izuku, almost there, thank God that 2 months of endless chore is over. He lets out a sigh of relief. Gyuki, you were lucky to be grounded for 2 months, Izuku. Izuku can't argue with that. Arrives at the beach and sees Toga cleaning the beach alone. "Oh, so All Might's training is this, huh?" Gyuki, by lifting all kinds of trash will strengthen all your muscles altogether, not bad. Izuku, I should talk to her once she takes a break, I don't want to be a distraction. Sits on a bench that is near the beach. Gyuki, if all these wastes were gone, this beach would have a nice view. Izuku, hands in pocket, I agree, it's a shame we humans produce so much waste throughout our lives. But I guess it can't be helped. They sat there for hours, watching Toga carrying all kinds of waste to the truck that was stationed near the beach. Izuku didn't waste his time either. Let's see what he is doing. In mind space. Izuku, sitting on the ground, meditating. Gyuki, you have been able to completely master all forms in little more than a year. Izuku lowers his head. I am proud of your accomplishments, and I know your ancestors would be as well. Izuku opens his eyes, still sitting well. I don't care if they are or not. What I do doesn't tie to my lineage, it's my own achievements. Right now, after mastering all tailed forms, I am trying to release you like 7th Hokage used to release Kurama with Yang release. Gyuki, I guess you could try to separate my chakra to yourself. Gets one of his tail in front of him. Izuku stands up and looks at Gyuki. You sure, Octo-san? Gyuki chuckles. It will take a while to recharge, sure. But since you use Yang release for dust release, I think there is a possibility of me manifesting outside like Kurama did. Izuku's chakra starts to pull on Gyuki's tail and start to pull out Gyuki's chakra without any resistance. Izuku, his chakra starts to merge with Gyuki's chakra. Well, I guess I won't hear from you for some time? Gyuki, Getting tired and skinnier for some time, yes. But I will be recharged soon, enough to be able to converse with you again. Izuku closes eyes and sleeps. Izuku, standing there while Gyuki Chakra mode is activated. This is Kukenmujutsu, a fan-made character. I do not own the character. Izuku walks to Gyuki and gently caresses his nose. Thank you, Octo-san, for being my first and lifelong friend. Smiles and opens his eyes in the real world. He opens his eyes and sees that All Might in his skinny form talking with Toga. Izuku gets up and starts walking to them. Hey guys. Waving and smiling. All Might and Toga. Gao looks to the source. What is he doing here? Izuku, I was grounded for 2 months, sorry I couldn't come. Laughing. All Might, nervously. Young Shimura, what are you doing here? Izuku, confused. I thought that since Toga-san was training to be your successor, I could witness the origin of the future symbol of peace, no? Smiles. Toga, looking sideways embarrassed. Thank you for the compliment, Shimura-san. Izuku shifts his eyes to Toga. You know you can call me by my first name, Toga-san. I won't mind. Toga whimpers a bit. Silently. Izu. Izuku, Izuku, say what new? Toga, Izuku-san. Blushing slightly. Izuku stands back straight and smiles. That's the spirit. I have been watching you for 4 hours now. You are doing great. Thumbs up. Toga, shyly. Thanks. Smiles slightly while looking down. Izuku sees her smile. Hey, you look cute when you smile like that. Pats her head. Toga, eyes widen and looks up at him. Huh? At that word there are several emotions spiraling. Toga, embarrassed, flattered, flustered, and love. No, not that. Why would she feel that? That's stupid. Izuku is patting her head with his radiant smile, while she is sheepishly enjoying the pat. All Might sees that Izuku is patting her head and shifts to Toga to see her embarrassed. He lets out a light chuckle. All Might lightly chuckles. Kids. All Might claps his hands to get their attention, and Toga gets startled because she forgot that All Might was beside them for a moment. Izuku jerks his head to All Might, wondering what he wanted. All Might, now young Toga, you should get back to training. These waists aren't going to move themselves now, are they? Toga, her flushed look shifts to look of determination. High. Toga runs off to the shore, leaving All Might and Izuku behind. Izuku looks to be deep in thought as his eyes follow her. Izuku, I want to know more about her. I want to watch her as she becomes a glorious hero that shows that anyone can be hero. I want to walk down that path with her. Izuku's heart suddenly picks pace, a loud thump that startled him a bit. He places his hand on his chest as he wonders. Izuku, what was that? My heart started to race and thump when I thought about her. What does that mean? Wish Octo-san was awake, I would have been able to ask him. Izuku was isolated on the island his whole life, and because of that he never really felt love for opposite sex except for his mother. Paternal love, of course. None of that Inko x Izuku stuff yet. All Might looks at Izuku and sees he has a confused expression while holding his chest, which led to him getting confused as well momentarily, but he shrugs it off before he asked him a question that he wanted to ask for some time now. All Might, young Shimura. Izuku looks at All Might. Yes, All Might? All Might, when we are in public please call me by my surname, Yagi. Izuku smiles. Okay, what is it, Yagi-san? As he smiles, All Might can't help but to feel nostalgic. All Might, did you have any relative named Nana by chance? Izuku strokes his chin as he runs through his memory. All Might is waiting for his answer with high anticipation. Izuku remembers. Oh yeah, my father told my mother that his mother's name was Nana, and apparently she was a hero. I even have the picture of her portrait. Gets his phone out and searches his gallery and finds it here. Faces his screen to All Might. Why did you ask? All Might's eyes widen in shock as he thought to himself. He spoke after a few seconds. All Might, that is my master. Izuku, eyes light up. Whoa, my grandmother was your master? Gets close to his face. What was she like? Was she strong as my father mentioned to my mother? What did she teach you? All Might, she was the one who gave me hope, when no one else did. smiles sadly. As Izuku stopped asking questions as he recalls. All Might, but young girl, I'm going to tell you the truth. My quirk was passed on to me like a sacred torch. Izuku mutters, my grandmother passed her quirk to you. All Might silently nods. Izuku, but that doesn't make sense. My father mentioned to my mother that she could fly or float. All Might, that was the quirk that she was born with, before she got one for all. Smiles at him. I am glad that her child had a great life, and her grandchild is standing before me. Izuku, child? Izuku pauses for a second before asking something that bothered him. Izuku, you didn't know? All Might was confused by that question. What does he mean? Why is he asking me that? All Might, know what? Izuku, my father had a twin brother. He was not an only child, All Might. All Might's eyes widen as he hears it. His master never mentioned she had twins. She only told him that she does have a family. The scene changes to Izuku and All Might going to an alleyway where Izuku put his seal. Recall. All Might, what do you mean? Izuku, my father had a twin brother. I don't know much, so I want you to go meet my mother, she knows everything. All Might, okay. After young Toga finishes with her training. Where do you live, young Shimura? Izuku, on a remote island far away from here. All Might, taken back. How are we going to get there? More importantly, how do you get here? Izuku, oh sure, I have to lie, my mother has teleportation type of quirk. Wherever she puts a mark, anyone who has other half of the seal can teleport to any other seal she put. All Might, that's convenient. Izuku, so let's go to that seal after Toga-san finishes. All Might, alright. Ends. All Might is following Izuku until he turns and walks into a dark alley. All Might stops. Are you sure this is it, young Shimura? Izuku stops and looks back smiling. I used it today to get here. All Might, follow me, waves his hand gesturing him to follow him as he starts going deeper into the alley. All Might, okay, follows. I got to be careful, just in case. Luckily I reserve some energy. Izuku and All Might gets to the end of the alley, then Izuku stands against a small seal. Izuku extends his hand, grab on. Smiles. All Might hesitantly takes his hand, and as he grabbed him, he felt the scenery change. He was going to ask something before getting cut off by Izuku. Izuku, let's go, we are here. Starts walking. All Might looks to where Izuku is walking, to see that there is a traditional Japanese house with light illuminating from inside. He follows Izuku. Izuku slides the door open. I am home, Mom, and I brought an important guest. Walks in and starts taking his shoes off. All Might slowly walks in and quietly says sorry for the intrusion. Starts taking his shoes off. As he leaned forward to take his shoes off, he could hear footsteps. All Might looks up but freezes after he saw the person that was standing in front of him, making his eyes widen. He sees a slim woman with shoulder-length green hair. Her hair-do has ponytail on the left. It reminded All Might of his late master. Inko, oh, who might you be? All Might, I am Tashinori Yagi. I am familiar with your son. Bows slightly. Inko, oh, looks to Izuku, you should have told me that you were going to bring a guest. Izuku, I would have prepared something. All Might, nervously, don't bother yourself, miss. It was sudden and I should have asked for a better time. Inko smiles, nonsense, gestures, you can come in, Yagi-san. They settle in the kitchen around the dining table. Inko already served a tea for her guest, which he took it kindly. All Might, I am sorry for my sudden intrusion, Miss Shimura. It is just that your son had the same last name as my late master, and I speculated that he must be related to her in some way, which he was, and things led to here. Chuckles awkwardly as he sips his tea. Izuku, sitting there looking at All Might, is he nervous because of that, or my mother? Inko, oh my, you must be talking about Nana Shimura, my husband's mother. All Might, oh, your husband mentioned about her? Inko, of course, my husband wouldn't go a day without mentioning her. Chuckles sadly. All Might, huh? I sense sadness in that. Are you okay, miss? Inko sighs, it is just that he was such a great man, wonderful partner. He wanted nothing but a happy family. All Might, oh, I am sorry for your loss, Miss Shimura. Inko, it has been so long, 15 years he has been gone. All Might, eyes widen, that means looks at Izuku. Inko, yes, he disappeared after we found out we were having a child. Well, disappeared is not exactly the word. All Might, may I ask what happened? Flashback. 15 years ago, after Hisashi and Inko found out they were going to be parents. Hisashi could be seen putting his shoes on as he impatiently ties the laces on them. Inko is behind him, watching him as he tries to tie them fast as he can. Inko, honey, are you sure you want to go there this late? How about we both go in the morning? Hisashi stands up and looks back to his wife happily. Hisashi, I can't wait, Inko, you know I was always jealous of Toyo. His children are great, and I always wanted to have a family like him. Puts his jacket on, I can't wait till tomorrow morning to tell him that I too am going to be a father. Inko sighs and pouts. You are leaving me alone, huh? Hisashi looks back to see Inko pouting. He walks to her and caresses her cheek. Inko looks at him, still pouting her cheek. Hisashi, come on, don't be mad. I will be back before you know it, okay? Inko, fine, you better be here when I wake up. Hisashi smiles. I will peck her on lips. You wouldn't even know I was gone for that long. Inko tells All Might the event of that night. I wish I was persistent enough to make him stay that night. If he didn't go, he would still be here with us. A loving father, a great husband, but... Inko paused while explaining, which leads him to ask. What happened? Tohisa, my brother-in-law's family was killed that night. And yes, I changed Kotora's name in this, but the meaning is not that different, surprisingly, and the name Tohisa fit perfectly for Hisashi and Tenko for me. With my husband. Only thing left was destroyed estate, pool of blood with set of hands which belonged to the family and Hisashi. However, nobody found anything from Tenko, their youngest son. Inko is holding her deceased husband's severed hands, crying her eyes out. Inko, crying and sobbing, it's my fault. I should have stopped you, my beloved. Sobs, if I did, we would have raised our child together. She hugged her late husband's pair of severed hands tightly to her chest, because it was the only thing left of him. She was wailing in despair, losing him after finding out they were expecting hit her heavy. After some time, Inko was still holding the hands close, no sign of letting it go. She was still sobbing, but this time she was having different emotion. Inko, I swear, my child, I will be a great mother, and I swear to whoever killed my beloved, you better hide, because I am going to find you and I am going to kill you. She raises her head, eyes shining dark shade of green as she swears revenge on her beloved's killer. Flashback ends. Inko didn't mention about her oath of revenge to the two sitting beside her. Why would she? The room fell silent as she finishes her story. Izuku was seated farther away from Inko. He was silent. All Might was stunned after hearing her story about how tragedy struck the Shimura family 15 years ago. All Might, my condolences. Inko responds by waving her hand, gesturing him to not worry. Inko, no, I'm sorry, I don't think you wanted to hear Sob's story of how a widow lost her husband. All Might, no, it's okay. It just gives me clearance of what happened. I didn't know. His eyes fall into the cup absent-mindedly. All Might, my master didn't want me and her friend to look for his child or children, as I am just being aware of it now. If I had known, I might have been able to do something. There was a low whisper coming from the other end of the table. Two adults' eyes drift to Izuku, who quietly asked again. Izuku, do you know? Inko, know what, son? Inko didn't understand the question. As she asks again, Izuku's tone changed and his chakra was turning dark red, seeping with rage. Izuku, who was responsible for my father's death? As he yells the last word, the chakra cloak of tailed beast starts covering Izuku. When the cloak appears, the whole house shakes violently. All Might and Inko stands up from their seats, taking distance. All Might buffs up as he reserved his energy in case something came along, as he mentioned to himself before. Inko looks at All Might, surprised that scrawny man sitting in front of her few minutes ago was the #1 hero. All Might, young Shimura, calm yourself. They might have apprehended who was responsible. We don't know for sure, Ms. Shimura turns to look at Inko. Tell your son they did. Inko was silent. She was expecting her son to react this way, however not this violently. All Might, they did, right? Inko looks into All Might's eyes. His eyes were asking for answer that can put the young boy, who is in rage, at ease. But she knew that Izuku would know if she were to lie now. She shakes her head, meaning no. All Might's eyes widen before he hears Izuku roar like monster, as the transparent cloak thickened to blood red, engulfing his humane body to disfigure it into that of a monster. All Might shifted his eyes to Izuku to see that his appearance is now too similar of a monster. Izuku was boiling in rage. He was enraged that one who stole the opportunity to be raised with a father, one who stole his father from his dear mother, was still roaming free. His cloak thickens as horns that is similar to that of an ox starts growing on his head. His face is covered in black substance, eyes whitens, teeth sharpens. In his mind space, Gyuki feels his Jinchuuriki, his friend's overgrowing rage. His eyes shudders open as he is not yet nourished enough to stand back up, not even close to it. However, the kid he had taken a liking to at first encounter was now about to level a whole city or nation if he doesn't intervene now. Gyuki grunts and stands up. He is taking it very heavy. Yeah, no shit. He finds out that a father he wished to see for 15 years of living is never coming to support him. Watch him achieve his dream. He must feel lonely now. How betrayed he must be feeling now, and how angry he must be. Lowly Izuku, you must compose yourself. You don't think your father would want you to be like this, do you? Izuku looks back, tears in his eyes. How can I calm down, Octo-san? My father was taken away from me. He falls to his knees crying as he roars in rage and sorrow. The mindscape echoes with his rage-full shout before falling silent. Izuku, I never knew him. How I wish to know him instead of hearing stories about him every time I visited the cities. Every time I saw kids my age spending time with both their parents. Tears streaming down his face, dripping down to the water under him. I would get jealous. I would wish my father would suddenly open the front door and shout surprise. Starts to sob. I really wish that. I really fucking wish that. His sob echoes the imaginary terrain of nothingness. He speaks. Izuku, now I know it was just a hopeless fantasy. Izuku is on his knees, crying profusely. Gyuki lifts his hand and engulfs Izuku inside his palm. Gyuki, Izuku. Izuku, huh? Looks up, tears still streaming. Gyuki, it may not come true, but you have so much to see, so much to do. Your father may be not here, but you have your mother. You will make friends, even make your own family and love them. So Izuku, stay strong and remember, until the day you pass away. Whether it be on a battleground, rather it be in your lowest or your highest, I am here. I will always be here to support you. Outside of his mind, Izuku could be seen frozen since Gyuki called for him. Inko and All Might shared a look. Right then the cloak that was surrounding Izuku dissipates, and Izuku stands before them, head hung low. All Might, is it over? Inko sighs. It is. Inko steps closer to her son to embraces him in a warm hug which Izuku immediately reciprocate, tightening his hands in contact. Inko stands there still, hugging her son, caressing his fluffy green hair as she consoles him. Inko, sorry for laying that on you so suddenly, my beautiful boy. There was nothing but sound of sobbing in the room. The damage around the room is not something drastic. Few broken panels on the floor, few shattered plates, flung table and chairs, cracked walls. All Might looks around. What was that? That was not his quirk that he showed at that incident. All Might then looks back to the two green heads as he questions. All Might, does he have multiple quirks? But there is no way that he has that many quirks. Chapter 4, My Tenacious Mother. 4 months have passed since that day. Izuku has been training with his chakra mode for a while after he unlocked it. Now he has come close to getting full control with it. In these 4 months, he concentrated on his chakra control more than learning more jutsus, but still learned some more nevertheless. Right now Izuku is in a meditative position in the forest, focusing on his breath. Gyuki watches Izuku patiently for some time. However, he asks something he wanted to know from his Jinchuuriki. Gyuki, watching him focus Izuku. Izuku opens his eyes and looks to Gyuki. Yes? Gyuki, Izuku, I just wanted to ask out of curiosity, do you know all the family bloodline you have? It would be helpful to know what to expect from you for future references. Also, I think it would benefit you if you were to actually expect some major awakenings too. Never hurts to be cautious. Izuku, you're right. Thinks for a second. No, I don't really know all of them. But I do know I have Uzumaki, Uchiha, Hyuga, and I think that's it. That's as far as I really know honestly. Gyuki, let us brainstorm, shall we? I know for a fact that your family is originated from Naruto's family, and along the way your family changed your last names due to marrying people who had different last names, obviously. That would confirm immense chakra pool is a given from the Uzumaki clan, and Byakugan is a possible dojutsu, and you are Boruto and Sarada's descendants, so you might even be able to awaken Sharingan as well. Izuku, but my eyes are normal, just green. Gyuki, I could be wrong about you awakening Byakugan or Sharingan. You might awaken both in each eye or a whole new dojutsu because of, I don't know, human evolution. Izuku, maybe. Gyuki, now that I think about it, Kurama once said that Naruto's daughter had natural eyes, but in some occasions it changes to Byakugan. Izuku, interesting. Did he mention the circumstances that she awakened her Byakugan? Gyuki, if I recall correctly, he said that she was in a very emotional situation at first, but she seemed to be able to awaken it naturally after training with the Hyugas. Izuku strokes his chin. Wonder if I can use the tools we have with the dojutsu I may awaken in the future. We may have recovered most tools, and date and not all are stored there, though I wish otherwise. Some were already destroyed, some were nowhere to be found when I was going through the library. I couldn't find any information about similar cases in the past. Someone who awakened a whole new dojutsu after the 5 nations fell, and Mom said that one of my ancestor had a purple Sharingan as well. Gyuki recalls Izuku, you have Sage mode, right? Izuku, yes, I stumbled upon natural energy when I was 7. For 5 years I tried to gather natural energy. It took 3 years for me to sense it, 2 years to enter Sage mode and start using Senjutsu. Gyuki, interesting. I know only one person that could gather natural energy without learning it from Toad Sage or Dragon Sage. Izuku, Hashirama Senju, and mine is not like his. I actually learned it from Nevermind. Back to dojutsus. Have you ever heard of instances of new dojutsu appearing? I mean, besides my ancestor. Gyuki, I did, so it is possible. Izuku, immense turmoil of emotions, huh? Gyuki, even without a dojutsu your immense chakra pool could even rival tailed beasts, like Kisame Hashigaki, who was compared to us tailed beasts back in the day. Izuku, sighs, it would awaken when the time comes, I guess. Oh yeah, I have all 7 bloody swords of the mist, right? Was there anyone else after the 7 swordsmen who mastered all of them? Gyuki, oh, B used to possess Samahata, but had to give it back to the village. And to answer your question, there was no swordsman like them after they died. Izuku, groans, thought so. I wish Samahata would submit to me. Only one that I can use was Hiramikari. Gyuki, still, it is not something to overlook. Izuku, I guess. I read that one ninja mastered all great 7 swords before. Gyuki, there was. I wanted to also ask, do you know how long till you dot a entrance exam? Izuku, we have months. But I am not worried about the exam, or what powers I might have, rather what should I say what my quirk is. He ruffles his hair in panic. Gyuki, surprised him? Izuku, a person being able to manipulate 4 different nature elements, not to mention I can use 3 Kekii Genkais and someday 1 more, and even your chakra cloak, and transforming into you would raise a lot of questions too. No normal human has that many abilities that comes with 1 quirk these days, and what's worse, there are even more I can do: my Senjutsu, Fuinjutsu, Enclosing Jutsu, Cloning Jutsu, Flying Thunder God, 7 Heavenly Breaths, Medical Jutsu. It is unnatural to be able to do this much with 1 quirk. What do I do? Mutter. Gyuki lets out a chuckles. Izuku stops looks at Gyuki. What? Gyuki, nothing, it is just funny to see you panic, for it is rare to see. You start rambling about so many things very quick, kind of like that girl you like. Hee. Izuku gets flustered at the mention of that, making Gyuki burst into laughter. Meanwhile, Inko was sitting in her room, with a paper in hand. Inko's eyes start to well up all the while she clenched the paper in frustration. Nay, sorrow might be a suitable word. Later, the scene drifts to Izuku taking a route that takes him to the beach Toga is training at. He was reminiscing about what happened during the skipped 4 months while on his way there. Izuku, walking man, when I look back into this past 4 months I learned so many jutsus while training my chakra mode. The beach with waste comes in view. Izuku takes a good look of Toga's progress. I would say she cleaned about 60% of the whole waste. It looks a lot cleaner now, too. Stops at the stairs to see Toga lifting a microwave to the truck. Izuku couldn't help but smile gently. She is incredible. She followed through All Might's rough regimen for 6 months and became considerably stronger than she was. Sits at the top of the stairs watching her. I never had experience in this, but now looking at it, I guess Mom was right. Flashback 3 days before. Inko was preparing dinner at the counter, humming a song that stuck to her mind while chopping and slicing the ingredients. Izuku was in the living room, surfing through channels to find something that would pique his interest while looking to be contemplating on something in his mind. Inko wondered what it was, but she didn't have to wait to hear what it was since he finally spoke his mind, asking for help through his predicament. Izuku, Mom? Inko answers without turning her head to her son, to keep her progress growing on her meal. Inko, yes, dear? Izuku, I've been feeling something strange lately. Can I ask if you know about it? Inko, oh? Is it something to be wary of? Izuku, I don't think this is an illness, so no. Relieved, Inko asks further. Inko, then what is it? Izuku, remember the girl I met 6 months ago, the one I keep going back to see? Inko, yes, you said she is training for the entrance exam, and that she is training to further improve her physique for her quirk. Izuku, yeah? There was a short silence, and Izuku follows it up with his dilemma. Izuku, every time I see her I get this weird feeling. It always comes around whenever I am around her. Whenever she seems to be making progress it feels like I also achieved something great from seeing how happy she is. Whenever she opens up to me I don't know if this is the right way to put it. I cherish and appreciate how much she trusts me. Whenever she smiles it is the highlight of my day. Inko then stops for a moment to look back at his son, who is looking at her waiting for her insight on his issue. Inko smiles. How sweet that you are in love, Izuku. Flashback ends. Izuku is watching Toga going back and forth with different weighted object with her as she goes back to the truck that parked quiet the distance. Izuku, love, huh? I wonder if she feels the same as me. Himiko is lifting some waste and taking it to the truck while thinking. Toga, recently I have started to notice the results of my training. Lifts a pipe and starts carrying it to the truck. My strength, stamina and speed has increased considerably, even though my capability was above average. I noticed that I was nowhere near at the stage of inheriting one for all before I started training when this is just halfway through the regimen. Places the pipe and starts walking back. All Might's training regimen is no joke, it is more intense than what I had in mind. And since Mom doesn't want me going to gym to build muscles, this is exceptional for me. While walking she spots Izuku on top of the stairs, watching her. When their eyes met, Izuku waves while wearing his signature smile. Toga gets flushed yet she waves back as she continues walking. Toga, Izuku-san has been observing me every day. And he walks me home all the time. Gets to the pile and lifts up a trash and goes back to the truck carrying it. I don't think he mentioned his quirk to me. I wonder what it is she thinks while recalling the incident as she places the trash at the back of the truck. Teleportation, pyrokinesis, transformation, and from what All Might told me. Flashback. All Might, young Shimura is very strong. When he loses control he literally becomes a monster of rage. Trembling as he recalls. Toga notices that All Might was shaking, which baffled Toga. The supposedly strongest man before Captain Celebrity and Stars and Stripes is trembling from remembering a teenager losing control of his power. Toga, you are as scared? All Might reluctantly nods, admitting to Toga's suspicion, which disturbs Toga even further. Flashback ends. Toga, even though it sounds like a cool quirk, I am afraid to see him using it. Toga was always amazed by how people utilize their quirks, especially heroes. Ever since she was a child, she would always hypothesize how other quirks can be used, and became inventive about her approach as time passed. Toga, jogging back to the pile of trash, there were some instances that he showed to have electrokinesis, aerokinesis, and telekinesis. Looks to Izuku while jogging. As she looks to Izuku, she can see him hovering a spherical blue ball on his hand. At the moment, Izuku is hovering Rasengan on his hand absent-mindedly while coming up with ways to use it in different ways. Izuku, looking at the Rasengan, wonder if I can add ink release in Rasengan. Can I even add Earth style to Rasengan? What would happen if I add blaze release instead of adding it on Rasen Shuriken? Or just fire style? Okay, let's try fire style first. Focuses, trying to add fire style. It shouldn't be difficult since it is one of the 5 base elements. After a few seconds, the Rasengan gets dispelled. Izuku sighs at his attempt. He was no prodigy when it came to infusing chakra nature to Rasengan. It took him 3 months of non-stop training to achieve Rasen Shuriken, 2 months for Vanishing Rasengan, 8 months for Scorch Release, Cruel Rasengan, the Rasengan he used to save Toga and the other guy, 5 months for Lava Rasengan and Lava Rasen Shuriken. Repetitive training didn't help him to lessen the training duration, and he soon realized that was his weakness, which is odd considering that he can use many Kekkai Genkais, like Meitorumi. Izuku looks down, sighing, man, another months of non-stop training to do it. Really is a wonder why this is my defective area. At that, he hears a voice. Whoa. Izuku looks up to see Toga in front of him with curiousness in her eyes. Izuku, oh, Toga-san, are you on your break? Toga, well, no, but I saw you hovering blue sphere on your hand and was interested in it, and thought maybe I should take a break is all. Sits beside him. Izuku, oh crap, what do I tell her that was? I know she is enthusiastic about new quirks, same as me watching fights between heroes and villains. Toga, Izuku-san, what is your quirk if you don't mind me asking? Izuku, it is called energy transmutation. How in the hell did I come up with that on the spot? Toga, oh? What does it do? Brings out her phone and opens notes, ready to write it down. Izuku, she is just like me about fights, writes it down and analyses every possible aspect possible. Okay, let's see what I can come up with on the spot. It allows me to transform my life energy to nature elements, hence allowing me to use fire, lightning, air, earth. I can combine these 4 elements to sub-elements such as lava, fire that cannot be put out, which I call inferno, fire that can evaporate any liquid almost in an instant, scorching fire. And there's one weird sub-element where I can dismantle particles. I can even use my life force raw as you saw before, and infuse these 4 elements or sub-elements with that energy ball and cloak myself. Izuku looks at Toga, who is typing frantically on her phone of what she is hearing. As he looks at her focused expression, he can't help but chuckle softly. Izuku, and I have another quirk too. She pauses before looking at him with amazement. Toga, what? Eyes glimmer, what is it? Please tell me, tell me. Izuku, it's type of a host quirk, there is a legendary beast inside me. His name is Gyuki, he is an Ashioni with 4 long horns on his head, similar to that of a Jacob sheep. He is extremely massive. If I were to reference his size, he would be dwarfing entire forests and tower over large rock formations and buildings and matching the giant squid in size while he was, but now he is older, so he is larger than that now. He has straight teeth as well. Gyuki also has a muscular upper body structure, with a hunched back similar to an American bison, arms with spiked protrusions on the elbows, and hands with opposable thumbs like that of a human. Instead of hind legs, his lower half consists of 8 tails, which resemble the cephalopod arms of an octopus. These tails will grow back in the event they are sliced off. Toga is writing it down, paying full attention to Izuku's explanation whilst writing it on her phone. Izuku, Gyuki's tentacles, if severed, can be used as a medium for his life energy, such as creating a clone of me. Gyuki can perform an energy-based attack that I like to call the Tailed Beast Bomb, being able to fire it normally, or as a massive wave. It is strong enough to devastate an entire valley. He can supercharge it, creating one many times his own size for much greater power. He can also produce ink to blind enemies or form ink clones to bind enemies, and I can use it without transforming into him to utilize it in a variety of ways, such as binding or creating beasts by drawing them and putting my life energy into it. Toga, still typing. Wow, you have such powerful quirks, Izuku-san. How do you train? It must be complicated to make a routine to improve all of them. Izuku, my family owns remote island that is 36,254 kilometers square area, couple hundred km square, little than Kyushu Island. Had to look this up, so it is easy and safe to let loose some time there. Toga looks to him, still typing. What? Are you rich or something? No, scratch that. How is it there? And there is no record of it ever being there. Izuku chuckles. No, it's an island that was passed down generation after generation for almost 500 years. It is situated to southeast from here and hundreds of kilometers away from here. And the not knowing part one will keep it a secret. Izuku cheekily places his index finger on his lips while grinning. Toga, still typing and looking at him. How do you get here every day then? Izuku, I use my life energy to put a seal, and I can teleport to that seal as long as it is still there. Oh, I can also use my life force for medical ways too, as well as some interesting and convenient way. Toga, looking at her phone, typing. How do you recharge your energy? Isn't it limited? Izuku, oh, it is, but my ancestors used to live for very long, which means our life force is vast, and even if that was not the case, I can absorb energy from nature by blending my own life force with nature in order to draw nature energy. Toga, is there any downside to your quirks? Quirks like yours all have major drawbacks. Izuku, it is just as you said, my life energy is limited even though I have vast amount of it. If I overuse my quirk too much, I get tired, which immobilizes me, making me a burden, and if I use it all, I would most likely die. Toga stops typing. Her eyes widen in shock to hear that his quirk has such drastic drawback on his body. Izuku, but Gyuki can transfer his energy to me, so it is like I don't have any drawbacks at all. Haha. Toga starts typing again. Wow, Izuku-san. You would be a great hero in the future. Thank God. Izuku looks at her smiling. So will you, Toga-san. I mean, think about it, Toga-san. You are going to inherit the number one's power. Toga stops typing for a moment and mumbles Himiko. Izuku leans his head to the side. You said something, Toga-san? Toga shyly, call me Himiko. We have been hanging out a lot for the past 4 months. You can call me Himiko. Slightly blushes. Izuku was silent momentarily, until he smiled and said, Izuku, alright, can I call you Himiko-san? Toga, blushing intensifies, hides her face behind her phone as sure. Izuku, alright, I am going to call you that from now on then, Himiko-san. Toga smiles behind her phone. Izuku then starts looking around, looking for someone. Toga notices this and asks, Toga, What are you looking for, Izuku-san? Izuku, looking around. When is All Might coming? Toga, oh, he said that he will come around. Looks at her phone to see the time, 4 p.m., which is 6 hours from now. Izuku looks the beach again. Oh, okay. Are you going back on your usual time? Toga, why yeah. Scratching her cheek with her index finger. You must get bored every time you are here. Looks down. Izuku, well, I did at first. Toga melancholically hangs her head low. Izuku, but I like watching your progress each day. Watching you improve is not boring, besides I. Toga, eyes widen and looks at him. Izuku, I am training mentally while watching you improve. Toga, oh. She hangs her head low again in disappointment. Izuku, huh? Did I do something wrong? But man, I want to spend every moment with her. Even if you don't feel what I feel when I am with you, I still want to be with you, Himiko-san. You should probably get back to your exercise, Himiko-san. Toga suddenly realized that she prolonged her break time. She stands up quickly, then jogs back to the pile of trash, panicking. Izuku couldn't help but chuckle seeing her wittiness. Time passed by and it is nearing 4 p.m. All Might is making his way to the beach, absorbed in his thoughts. All Might, what was that? Recalls Izuku's tailed beast cloak. It had such an ominous aura. as if he was an embodiment of rage, despair, chaos. If I hadn't encountered something similar to that before, I would have fallen to the floor. It was almost the same as AFO's aura. The beach comes into his view. Wonder if he is here as usual. I would like to clarify what his quirk or quirks are. As he closes into the beach, he sees Toga carrying the garbage to the truck, while Izuku is just watching her, smiling. All Might gets behind Izuku and stops. Hello, young Shimura. Izuku, without looking, smile not fading. Good evening, Yagi-san. All Might sits beside him. How are you doing these days, ever since you know? I know I haven't talked about the events of that night since then. Izuku, it's okay, Yagi-san, I am doing fine. Getting to know why my father died gave me inhales then exhales deeply, somewhat of a closure. All Might, understandable. There was silence between the two until All Might broke it with his question. All Might, back then. Izuku and All Might recalls what happened back then. All Might, was that your quirk? It was very sinister, as if you were made of pure rage and hatred. Izuku was silent for a few seconds, making All Might uneasy until he spoke up. Izuku, I have 2 quirks, one host quirk and one energy transmutation quirk. You can ask for Himiko-san for her note, she wrote most of it down. In short, I host a legendary beast inside me, and that was an improper fusion of us. I am sorry if it gave you such feeling, I was just outraged that my father was never coming back. All Might places his hand on Izuku's back in a comforting manner. All Might, I don't know such feeling of absent parent or parents, but I am sure it is dreadful to not have even a chance to get to know them. Izuku, do you know what my mother told me when I was little whenever I asked her about father? All Might is silent, waiting for him to continue. Izuku, she said that he is at the mainland, working and sending us money to support us, and he is so busy that he can't come to us. So as a reconcile, she told me stories about him. All Might couldn't bring himself to put in his opinion. He wants him to lay it out properly so he can feel more easy, so he can accept that this is reality. Izuku, every evening, I would always wait at the front door, waiting for him to come. Now that I look back to it, I probably looked stupid. Lets out a painful giggle while tears flowing down, sobbing. All Might wraps his arm around Izuku's shoulder, pulling him into a hug, which Izuku returned. All Might, hugging him, patting his head. You may not have known him, and he may not have been able to see you grow, but I am sure that he would have been so proud of you, young Shimura. Izuku's cheeks continued to get stained with tears while his entire being was being consoled by someone who really do care. After a few minutes, Izuku stopped sobbing. All Might, still hugging him better? Izuku sniffs, yeah, breaks the hug and wipes his tears. Thanks for letting me get it out. Ever since that day, I was focused on training and watching Himiko-san. I was barely able to talk with my mother about it. When we talk, we avoid the topic by talking about different things. All Might, you are welcome, young Shimura. As All Might finishes his sentence, footsteps can be heard. When they look to the source, they see Toga coming their way. Toga, hey, is everything okay? I saw Izuku-san crying and you two hugging each other. All Might, nervous, and no, everything is fine, young Toga. And remember to call me by my name so that no one knows it is me. Toga, alright. Looks at Izuku. Izuku-san, are you okay? Do you need something? Izuku chuckles, sniffs, and wipes his tears. Yeah, it is alright. Personal matters, family stuff. Toga, oh, okay, I won't pry you to tell me about it. It is not like we are close or friends or anything, right? Izuku looks at her confused. Toga is looking down, sadness evident on her face. Izuku, hey, what are you talking about? We are friends, right? Toga quickly looks up, huh? Izuku, smiling, if I didn't want to be friends with you, why would I walk you home every day? Why would I come here to watch your progress for 4 months straight? Holds her hand. Toga, surprised, huh? Izuku, you are an amazing person, Himiko-san. Anyone who knows you are lucky to have you in their life. If anyone is disrespecting you, hating you, or treating you wrong, they are simply nothing but blind. At those words, Toga starts to cry. No one has ever said that to her. No one wanted to be associated with a quirkless weirdo. She would be ridiculed, beaten up by kids her age, bad-mouthed by adults. Her case is very rare. She is quirkless even though her parents have quirks. Because of that, people around her started to call her freak and kept their distance, which made Toga feel like she was just a waste of space or she was doing something wrong. Her mother suspects something is bothering her. She never heard she had friends or that she talked to someone whenever she asks her about her day. She just says it was okay and goes into her room all gloomy. However, recently, she noticed Himiko was all cheerful and all giddy. She would always say she was out with someone. She was happy for her. Finally, her little girl was coming home beaming her contagious smile. Toga is sobbing in front of Izuku and All Might, who knows her situation. They are happy that Toga is starting to feel better. After a few minutes, Toga starts calming down, hugged by Izuku, who is patting her back, calming her. Izuku, patting her back, and chuckles, "What did you think we were? We are friends, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I do, but I don't want to ruin this." After that, All Might asked for Izuku's quirks description from Toga's phone. While he was reading, Toga went back to continue her training. All Might, done reading, and looks to Izuku slowly, terrified. Shimura-kun. Izuku turns his head to him with innocent look. "Hi. All Might, this kid is this powerful. He is a freak of nature." Turns his face back and nothing. "I am glad that he is trying to be hero. If it was other the way, it would be a disaster." At 7 p.m., All Might goes his separate way. Toga and Izuku walks to Toga's house. On their way, Toga, hey, Izuku-san, fidgeting with her fingers. Izuku, turns to her. "What is it?" Toga, "See, can you stay for dinner?" Izuku, "What?" Toga panics and no. It is just looks down. It is just yesterday. Toga's mom puts hand over her mouth. "Oh, you have a friend. You should invite them tomorrow. It would be great to meet your friend." Smiles. Toga, flustered, and mama pouting. Present. Toga, after telling him, fidgets with her finger. "So, why yeah." Laughs nervously. Izuku, "Oh, if your mother asked, then I wouldn't mind. I just have to tell my mother about this." Gets his phone out and calls her mother. Toga, "Oh, okay. I am going to tell my mother and tell her you agreed." They both pull out their respective phones and dial their mothers. Izuku's point of view. There is few rings before Inko picks her phone. Inko, "Yes, Izuku?" Izuku, "Oh, hey mom, did you make dinner?" Inko, "I am about to. Why, son?" Izuku, "Oh, it's just Himiko-san's mother invited me for dinner, and I think it will be rude to not take the offer, and…" Inko, "Oh, okay. You should, since she is your first friend and her mother is inviting you over. You should go, son, and don't worry about me. Yes, it will be a bit lonely eating without you, but I understand the situation." Izuku smiles, "Thanks, mom." Inko, "And tell her that I am inviting her for dinner as well." Smiles. Izuku, "Oh, okay. I will tell her, but how are we going to arrange that?" Inko, "You said that you were going to give her false explanation about your abilities, so it is covered, right?" Izuku, "Well, yeah." Inko, "Okay, bye Izuku. Have a nice dinner, love you." Izuku, "Love you too, mom." They hang up the phone. On Toga's side, there is only one ring and her mother picks up. Toga's mom, "Yes, Pumpkin?" Toga, "Well, mama, I told Izuku-san about your invitation, and he said he is coming." Toga's mom squeaks, "My baby girl is bringing her friend for the first tea." There was a small pause. Toga, "Mama?" Toga's mom, "Did you just say he?" Toga, nervous, "Why, yes." Toga, voice becomes stoic, "Okay, bring him here." Toga, bit scared, "Oh, okay." Why did her voice change? Toga hangs up, and they continue walking. They both hang up at the same time and looks at each other. Toga, "So what did your mother say?" Izuku, "She said that it would be kind of weird eating alone, but she understands the situation." Toga, sigh of relief, "That's good." Izuku, "Oh, and she is also inviting you for dinner next time." Toga, huh? Why? Izuku, "I think it is because you are my first ever friend. I was isolated on that island till I was 10, and after controlling my teleportation I started coming here more. And I never knew how to make friends, and you are my first friend." Toga, oh, why you are my first friend too. Izuku, huff, well, we are here. They look to the side and they see Toga's house. When they were about to enter, Toga's mom opens the door with stoic face. Toga's mom, Himiko. Toga, sweats okay, no nickname. She is on to something, why ya mom? Toga's mom, go in first, I want to have a pleasant talk with your friend. Smiles. She emphasizes her last word with a pause and change of tone. Toga, alright. Glances at Izuku with worried eyes before going in. Toga goes in and they wait for Toga to be away of hearing range, then Toga's mom starts the conversation. Toga's mom, looking at Izuku coldly, let us get to the case, what do you plan with my daughter? Izuku, you mothers are scary, well, it is just Himiko-san is my first friend. Glances down, I have been isolated on a remote island far away from here ever since I was born. Smiles, because of that I never had friends until 4 months ago. Toga's mom raises an eyebrow and expression softens. Izuku, these 4 months have been huffs, even saying it was nice would be understatement. I just want to be friends with her, mumbles, maybe even more. Toga's mom could hear him mumble, then she smiles before saying. Toga's mom sighs and smiles, you like my daughter, and from hearing you, you don't seem like a bad kid. Izuku looks at her. Toga's mom places her hand on her chest. Haruko, Toga, Himiko's mother, it is nice to meet you and thanks for being my daughter's friend. Izuku, bows Izuku Shimura, pleasure is all mine, ma'am. Haruko moves out of the way and extends her hand inside with a smile. Come in, I made some food for us to enjoy. They are now around the dining table in the living room, they just finished eating. Haruko, so, Shimura-kun, would you tell me more about yourself? Izuku, well, I live with my mother, and as I told, we live on a remote island far away from here. Haruko, what about your dad? Izuku, he died when my mom found me in her belly. Haruko, I am sorry for bringing up such subject. Izuku, gestures, it is okay, it is alright, I resolved that months ago with my mom. Haruko, smiles, kind of like me and Himiko. Izuku, what happened to him? At that question, both mother and daughter stiffens and Izuku notices this. Izuku, did I ask something sensitive? Haruko, it is just. Toga angrily slams the table, that bastard left me because I was quirkless. Haruko, angrily, Himiko. Toga, what? It is true, that bastard left you and me because he didn't want the responsibility that comes from me, because he didn't love me. Toga stands up and rushes to her room and slams it shut behind her. Haruko and Izuku sit silently for a few seconds. Izuku, I am sorry I brought it up, Miss Toga. Haruko, no, it is alright. Even though I lashed out at her, she said the truth. Izuku, did he really walk out on you too? Haruko sighs, he did. He said that he cannot have a useless daughter and packed his things. I begged for him to think about it, but I guess I knew he would have that type of reaction. But I doubt it would have been any different if she even had a quirk, because if she did have combination of me and my ex-husband's quirk, she mostly would have wound up with villainous quirk, as the society calls it. Izuku, that is heavy. Haruko, okay, let's stop talking about this heavy subject and put away the dishes. Stands up. Izuku, stands up, I will help and see if Himiko-san is alright. Haruko, collecting the dishes, please do, Shimura-kun, I think she would let you in and not me. Izuku, I think so too. After Izuku help out Haruko, he knocks on Toga's door. Izuku, hey, Himiko-san, can I come in? After some seconds of silence, Izuku hears a click indicating she just unlocked her door. Izuku lets himself in to see Toga on her bed, hugging her knees with her head resting on it. Izuku, hey, Himiko-san, are you alright? Huffs, what am I saying? You are probably sad and angry. There was silence. Izuku sighs and sits beside her. He had no response, not even a twitch. Izuku slowly hugs her. Toga, still hugging her knees, what are you doing? Izuku, comforting you, you are feeling down, you need company. Toga, I guess. slowly hugs back. They stayed like that for several seconds before Toga started sobbing in Izuku's chest. Izuku, surprised, huh? Himiko-san? Himiko, sobbing, it is just why did he leave me, did he really not love me enough? Continues sobbing. Izuku sighs while patting her back. Well, I don't know what he was thinking at the time, but if it was me, I wouldn't leave you just because you are quirkless. I would look after you. Sure, it might get challenging, but it will be worth it to see you grow up to be a wonderful woman. Smiles. Himiko, sobbing, that was kind of creepy, Izuku-san, but thank you for comforting me. Izuku smiles anytime Himiko-san tries to pull away from the hug. Himiko tightens her hug. No, please, I want to stay like this a bit longer. Izuku, oh okay, stops trying to pull away. As they are laying on Himiko's bed, outside the room, Haruko was listening in. Haruko walks away to her room smiling. Thank you, Shimura-kun, for being my little girl's friend. The scene changes to Izuku using her ration to get to the island he lives on. Izuku is walking down the pathway that leads to his house. Izuku, I guess she had it even worse. Gyuki, it would seem so. Izuku, I hope she would at least get better after All Might passes his quirk to her. Gyuki. Izuku, what? Gyuki, I thought you would get startled after my long silence, that is all. Izuku chuckles, did you really think that I would? Gyuki, well, I kind of did. Izuku, well, you disappoint me, Octo-san. Fake crying. Gyuki, enough, you crybaby. Izuku, fine, stops. Izuku then walks in and does his nightly routine before walking to his room. He stops before his mother's room. Izuku sighs and opens the door of his mother's room. He looks inside to see his mother sleeping soundly. He looks at his watch to see. Izuku, 11:53 p.m. No wonder. Gets in and sits beside her. Izuku sits there silently, watching his mother sleep. Izuku sighs, she has so much responsibility on her shoulder. No matter what, she always puts a smile on her face. Recalls. Izuku, sitting beside All Might watching Toga. All Might, sitting beside Izuku watching Toga. Izuku, without glancing over All Might. All Might glances at him. What is it, young Shimura? Izuku, why do you always smile? Even in dire situation, you always have a smile on your face. Why? All Might chuckles, funny, it is what your grandmother taught me. She would say one who has smile on their face are the strongest. Izuku chuckles, my mother always have smile on her face. I guess my father and mother had that in common. She would always say that I have his smile. Smiles. All Might, I am sure you do, young Shimura. And your mother seemed very strong. Izuku, still smiling, yes she is. Recall ends. As Izuku recalls, he looks at his mother's eyes fluttering open. Inko, half asleep, opens her eyes. Oh, Izuku, you are home? Izuku smiles, yes, Mom, sorry for worrying you. Kisses her hand. Inko smiles and closes her eyes. No worries, son, you should sleep as well. Falls asleep. Izuku gets upright. Gets to the door but pauses. Good night, Mom. Walks out, closing the door behind him. Izuku goes into his room and drifts off to sleep. Chapter 5 Farewell. 2 days have passed since that day. Izuku is now trying to infuse lava release to Rasengan, but to no avail. Izuku sighs, I am very interesting, aren't I? I can release 4 of 5 nature releases, 3 Kekii Genkais, a Kekii Toda. I mastered them all but can't put my chakra nature into a Rasengan. Gyuki, you are a wonder. Izuku, Recall. It was a day before. Izuku was in the living room watching news until Inko walked in. She had worried expression which Izuku couldn't see that because he was watching TV. Inko, worried-eyed Izuku. Izuku turns his head to her. Yes, Mom, wah. He cut himself off because he saw his mother's expression. He knows that look. Inko has that expression whenever she is delivering bad news. Izuku, what is it, Mom? Why do you have that face? What's wrong? Inko sits beside him, holding his hand and looking him in the eyes. Inko, big sigh. Izuku, I am sick. Izuku, sigh. Okay, that is not bad, like you made it appear to be. Mom smiles. As Izuku smiled, Inko was looking at him with a saddened look. This worried Izuku very much. Inko, my sickness is sighs not something to take lightly. Izuku, what is it then? Inko, the doctor said the symptoms are like nothing they have ever seen. I tried 100 healing seal, but it didn't work. Scoffs, how would it work? Chuckles softly. Izuku, what did they say? Is it severe? Izuku tightens his grip in his mother's hand. Inko rubs Izuku's knuckle with her thumb. Inko, it is. Izuku was silent. Inko was waiting for his next question for her. After a minute or two, he asks. Izuku, voice breaking. How long? Inko, th. The doctor said that eyes getting teary and voice started to tremble. It is not possible to determine the exact date, but they said it might be 2 to 3 months, maybe shorter. Izuku starts to sob. I don't want to lose you, Mom. Izuku places his hand on her mother's face, who is crying now. Inko, oh, I will not disappear, baby. Cups Izuku's face. I am passing away, and there is nothing that both of us can do, Izuku. We may be powerful, but we have our limits, and my limits have been reached. Izuku, tears streaming down his cheeks. Why must it be you? Why, mother? Inko, crying. Everyone has their end, it seems. She places her hand on Izuku's cheeks and wipes his tear. Inko, mine is sooner than I thought. There was few seconds of sobbing, sob of a helpless young boy and a powerless mother. Inko sighs and wipes her tears off her face. Listen, Izuku, we should spend our remaining time with joy, dear, not in somber. Izuku sniffles and wipes his face, releasing a sigh at the end. Then he looks towards his mother with a pained smile. Izuku, yes, Mom. Opens his eyes to reveal 2 tomo and 3 tomo green-colored Sharingan. We should spend your remaining time, eventful. Inko, Izuku. Izuku places his hand on her hand. You are my top priority for the next few months. Inko chuckles. Okay. After that, they spent their time together. Watching movies, trying out different ways to make food, Izuku flying around with his mother. It is now the night, and the two of them are eating dinner while having conversation. Recall ends. Now it is the evening. Izuku came back home and is now in the kitchen helping his mother with the ingredients. Inko, Izuku? Izuku, yes, Mom? Inko, when are you going to invite your friend? Izuku, oh yeah, I think I would invite her tomorrow. If that is alright with you? Inko, that is alright, she can come over tomorrow. Izuku, okay, I will text her after dinner, to see if she will be able to. Inko, of course, Izuku. If she can't come, ask when will be convenient for her. Izuku, will do. They make dinner and after Izuku goes in his room then starts texting Toga. Izuku, hey, Himiko-san. Are you awake? After 5 minutes. Himiko, oh, I was about to get in bed, what's up? Izuku, my mom asked if you could come tomorrow. Himiko, oh, I think I can. When are you picking me up? Izuku, after your training. Himiko, why was he not here today? Should I ask him? I don't think he would mind. Hey, why were you not there today? Izuku, I was busy with Mom and I think I would be busy with my mother for the next few months. Suya, but I will come around here and there, but not every day. Himiko, that is disappointing, but he is spending time with his mother, so I shouldn't be sad. Oh, okay, see you tomorrow, I guess. Izuku, yet till then, good night, Himiko-san. Himiko, good night. Izuku starts doing his nightly routine. On the other side, Himiko is just laying on her bed, looking at her phone. Himiko, well, I will see him tomorrow, I should sleep. Himiko tries to sleep while Izuku is doing his nightly routines before sleeping as well. 10 minutes later. Himiko, sound asleep. Izuku, in his bed looking at the ceiling. I don't want her to go, but I can't do anything to prevent her death. Gyuki is silently watching Izuku go about his day. He seems to have something on his mind, but he refrained himself from speaking. It is now a day after Inko informed Izuku of her own eventual death. She wanted Izuku to invite Himiko over. He asked Himiko, and she was alright with it. However, Izuku and Himiko could not have guessed that Inko had her own reasons to invite Himiko over. In Toga's house. Himiko, putting her shoes on at the doorway. Haruko, behind her, do your best today, sweetie. Smiling. Himiko stands up and looks back to her, I will. Oh, and Izuku-san invited me to his house. Haruko, he did? Himiko, well, it was actually his mother that invited me over. Haruko places her hand on her own cheek. How are you going to get there? If I remember correctly, their family lives on a remote island far away, right? More importantly, how does he get here every day? Himiko, oh, Izuku-san's quirk can make him teleport anywhere he puts these marks. It is connected to him, so the mark cannot disappear once placed as long he is alive. Haruko, that is convenient. What is his quirk? Himiko scratches the back of her head while laughing nervously. They are very potent quirks and has so many abilities that it will take long time to cover. I could tell you the details, but that would have to come later. Turns around and runs out of the house while shouting, bye mama, love you. Haruko stands there while waving goodbye to her daughter, watching Himiko so determined and full of energy. Haruko was overjoyed. She thanks Izuku in her head while preparing to go to her job. On Izuku's side, he wakes up and does his morning routine and comes into the living room where Inko is sitting, reading something on a scroll. This piqued Izuku's interest. Inko never reads anything from one of the scrolls unless she came upon something she doesn't know, which is very unlikely because Inko is one of the 3 greatest successor in the family line. There are 3 people in this special family who are recorded as most knowledgeable. And Inko is one of them. Her father, the direct predecessor, is the other one, and the 3rd generation after Boruto's son is the first person that collected all the data on this island. Only the present head of the clan are allowed to appoint the next prodigy of the family before dying. But there were times that there never was one who had the wisdom to be the greatest successor, before my grandfather. Izuku sits on the couch beside his mother, without tracing his eyes off her. After 3 minutes of complete silence, Izuku finally speaks. Izuku, Mom, what are you looking for? I might have seen it before. Inko, oh, I am just looking at the dojutsu logs, and found out that your Sharingan is one of its kind, result of a mixture of many other clans' bloodline. They all have unique abilities depending on you, Izuku. Reading while smiling. Izuku huffs. Yesterday was really eventful. I felt this strange pain in my head, but it was not sharp and sudden, it was gradual, like I am falling apart. Inko, your Sharingan awakened then, Izuku. Izuku, oh, I didn't think that pain was connected to my dojutsu. Was there ever someone who had Sharingan in our family? Inko, only one though. He was a Senju clan descendant who had Uchiha blood. He had purple Sharingan because both clans' genes were dominant. Izuku, interesting. Izuku looks over to the scroll to see his family tree, and there was a name, Haruto Senju. Izuku, I guess his name was Haruto Senju. Inko, still reading, only Senju in our bloodline. Izuku, I guess that could explain my Keki Itoda. An abnormality, but kind of logical now. Inko, guess so, rolls up the scroll and takes her glasses off and turns her head towards Izuku. Izuku, I wouldn't want you to give up your dream, or force you out of it. If you really want to be a hero, then go for it with confidence. Izuku, why are you saying it like that? And what are you talking about? Inko, I think it is time that some people be aware but not educated about the shinobi era. Izuku, are you sure, mother? People will be overwhelmed, and not to mention power-hungry villains trying to obtain such knowledge, the vultures. Inko, I think you know that no one can break the barrier around this island, so son, I think it will be fine. Izuku, oh okay, but can I start slow? By telling Himiko-san. Inko, that is one of the reason I invited her today, sweetie. Smiles. Izuku gets surprised to know that his mother decided to let his friend know about the sacred secret. Izuku, oh okay, then I will go train for some hours and help you with the ingredients. Smiles, okay mom? Inko, playfully with a defeated tone, go ahead, Izuku. Giggles. Izuku gets to the door and shouts, see you in few hours, mom, before running out while waving to her. She watches her son run along to the training ground, she smiles. Inko, I am proud of you, son. I know Hisashi will be proud as I am. She places the scroll on the coffee table and looks up the sea blue sky. Inko, I am looking forward to meeting you, Himiko Toga. In the training area. The training area is an open area, in the middle of the forest on the island. It has stone floor that has a sigil on it, which affects his chakra flow. Izuku is sitting in the middle, meditating. After 2 hours, he is repeating forms in taijutsu he read on one of the scrolls. Izuku, doing forms in order to utilize 7 heavenly breathing, I have to perfect my physique and taijutsu. Moreover, I want to improve my kenjutsu more. I nearly learned everything that is available on Tessenjutsu, Kusurigamijutsu, Kyujutsu, and Bojutsu. If I really want to protect others, I need to be my strongest self. He stops an hour later. Now he is focusing on infusing his fire to Rasengan. Izuku almost has it, but it dispels, letting him sigh ha. Gyuki Izuku. Izuku Gyuki, you can let your anger out, as long as it is not harmful to the others. There was some silence. Izuku stands there momentarily. Izuku, I really want to punch some things around, but I need to be in control of myself. He continues what he was doing before. Gyuki, well, no one is a saint, Izuku. You have your limits, be aware of your limit before you harm others without intending to. Izuku went silent. The scene changes to Izuku trying to infuse dust released into the Rasengan with 4 shadow clones. He has been trying for hours until it was 3 p.m. or 4 hours after he went out to train. He is walking back to his house while deep in thought. Izuku, I think that dust release is not compatible with Rasengan, since it is energy ray type of technique. I should try fusing ink release. Maybe it will have same effect as Gyuki's ink-tailed beast bomb, since it is originated from tailed beast bomb. Izuku gets to his house. He slides the door open, stops to take his shoes off. He gets to the kitchen to see his mother starting on dinner. Inko spots Izuku. Oh, you finished? Izuku, I will rolls up his sleeve, help you with that. Izuku and Inko prepared for dinner. While doing so, they laughed, they made food, they enjoyed spending time in the kitchen within each other's presence. It is now 6:40 p.m. Izuku is at the door putting his shoes on. Inko, Izuku, could you please get some drinks on your way here? Izuku, strapping his shoes, of course, Mom. I don't think Himiko-san would mind stopping by the supermarket on the way here. Stands up. Inko, be safe, son. Izuku walks out waving I will, Mom. Izuku uses Hiration to teleport to Himiko. Himiko had just sat down to take a breather before Izuku comes. She is looking at her progress for the day. Even though the results are noticeable, to her it doesn't seem close to being clean. But she is happy that she has made some progress, in her words. Now she is sitting there, in her head, not paying much attention to her surrounding, but suddenly she feels something appearing behind her. When she turns her head, she could see Izuku appearing before her. This took Izuku by surprise. Izuku, nervously, she is looking directly at me when I appeared. Did she feel my chakra or something? No, impossible. Himiko-san, are you done? Himiko, yeah, what was that? I was just taking a breather before you came. She turns her head back to the beach. Izuku takes a seat beside both, sat there, gazing at the ocean before them. There was several seconds of silence before Izuku spoke. Izuku, without looking at Himiko, sorry that I couldn't get here yesterday. My mom told me a heavy news and I had to stay. Himiko, oh, I didn't really think much of it. She was lying. Before Izuku texted, she was feeling incomplete, as if she left something somewhere unknown. She thought that he got bored of her, but when Izuku texted she was happy and relieved. Izuku, well, shall we go? Himiko gets up. Yep, I told my mom that I am going to eat at your house. Izuku gets up as well, as long as she knows where you are. Oh, and you wouldn't mind stopping by supermarket before we teleport? Himiko, sure, I want to bring something too. It would be rude to come around empty-handed. Izuku, why yeah? Scratches the back of his head while start walking. Crap, why didn't I thought of that when I visited her place? I know it was sudden, but I at least could have sent a clone to get something. Idiot, running his fingers through his hair violently. Toga stares at Izuku curiously as they make their way to a supermarket close by. After a few minutes they come out of the market after getting some things to drink with some sweets. Himiko, I think these would be great. As Himiko claims happily, Izuku's face gets slight blush. Izuku, cute, those fangs and her quirky behavior is something that I wouldn't get tired of. Quietly, I will never get tired of that smile. As Izuku quietly talks to himself, Himiko heard him. It made her happy because she always smiles whenever she is with him, or her mother. In the past, whenever she smiles, kids her age or older kids would always take advantage, assuming that she is gullible. She didn't comment on that because she thought that he told that to himself. They walks out the market to the street with a bag of items. Izuku, well, forwards his hand, hold my hand, and we are there. Himiko places her hand on his palm, but jumps a little after he holds her hand. When she pulls her hands off unconsciously, she realizes that she is at a whole different place. There was dim light coming off from a lamp pole, while the horizon has shifted to darkness. When she looked around, she could see a pathway leading towards a Japanese traditional house, a minka. Izuku, welcome to my family island. Himiko's eyes widened at that. Himiko and Izuku are walking towards the house while making conversation. Himiko, so this is your family's island? Izuku smiles. Yes, as I mentioned before, my family passed this island down for 500 years, give or take. Not many know this island. Himiko, interesting. They arrive at the sliding door. They slide the door open and is greeted by Inko, who is waiting for them since she felt Izuku's chakra signature. Inko, welcome to the island and our home. Himiko bows. Himiko, it is an honor to meet you, Miss Shimura, and thank you for inviting me to your home. Inko, formal it was given Toga-chan. You are my son's first ever friend. I can't not invite my Izuku's friend. Maybe future girlfriend or even wife. They went in and sat around the dining table. They are eating, having conversations. Until Inko asked a question. Inko, so Toga-chan, what is your quirk? Both Izuku and Himiko's actions halted. Izuku turned to Himiko, who looks troubled. Inko noticed this and asked. Inko, oh sorry, was it a sensitive question? Himiko, and no, it is okay. It is a stockpiling quirk that I didn't know I had. Now I am trying to master it by training my body. Inko, oh dear, that is a wonderful quirk. Himiko, until recently I thought I was quirkless even though I am quirkless. Inko, oh, I assume you had to deal with many hardships if you were assumed to be quirkless, but I sometimes see kids getting bullied if they have quirk that is not beneficial for heroic duties. Himiko nods slowly, while wearing a saddened expression. Inko, I was scared my son would receive harsh treatment as well if he tried to make friends, since Izuku here points to Izuku has a quirk that is not related to his parents' quirk that helps him process information 15 times faster than any fastest thinking human and memorize it perfectly. The doctor said that might be result of my grandparents' quirk, considering one had quirk that could paralyze someone with her eyes and other had visualizing type of quirk. Himiko's expression changes from sad to slight shock as she asks. Himiko, but I thought that. Izuku felt guilty but explained himself to Himiko. Izuku, it was not the truth, Himiko-san. I had to make up excuse in order to protect an ancient time period that should not be known. But the details were mostly factual, because I didn't want to lie to you entirely. Himiko hangs her head low, feeling somewhat betrayed. Himiko, then why tell me this, if it's supposed to be protected? As Izuku was about to answer her question, Inko speaks. Inko, as the current head of my family, I recently decided that it is time that public knows the missing time in history. Himiko, wait, your family knows about the lost time? The two green heads look at each other, confused. Izuku lost time? Himiko, people all around the globe declared the unknown hundreds of years as lost time. Inko places her palm on her cheek. Inko, my. Izuku stands up. Would you please follow me, Himiko-san? Inko and Himiko are now following Izuku to a room to the furthest left of the house. Izuku, this is our library. We store every information about what people apparently call lost time. At that comment, Izuku opens the sliding door to reveal millions of scrolls on bookshelves. Himiko was astonished by the view. You couldn't even count how many scrolls and books they were on the shelves. Izuku, there are documents, diaries of many kinds such as techniques, historic events, scientific discoveries, and more. Himiko does a little swirl to scope in the amount. It was a lot to take in. Himiko, how many are there? Gets closer to one shelf and picks up a scroll like, how many scroll are there? Izuku, I would say about 5,000 scrolls, each one has different subject, but recently I have been thinking of summarizing it all to categories. Himiko, wow, did you read any of these? Izuku, I read about 3/4 of it, there are still things I have to read. Himiko, can't believe all these documents about lost time is here on a remote island. Inko, Toga-chan, the reason we are telling you about this is, I wanted the world to know about this but we don't want to announce it publicly. Himiko, that is really wise, there are a lot of power-hungry villains and criminals out there, not to mention if it goes public other countries will become aware of such knowledge, it will be a catastrophe. Inko, smiles. Izuku was right, you are pretty smart, Toga-chan. Toga gets embarrassed and starts fidgeting with her finger whilst she retorts to the compliment. Himiko, why you are thinking of me too highly, Miss Shimura. After a few hours of reading some of the scrolls, Himiko thought it was time to go home. She is now tying her shoes before the door while Izuku is waiting for her to escort her home. Himiko stands up and turns back to Inko and bows. Thank you for inviting me to your home, Miss Shimura. Inko steps forward, holds her hands in between hers, smiling. Inko, call me by my name, honey. Himiko, then, thank you again, Miss Inko. Inko, still smiling. It was a pleasure to meet you, Himiko-chan. It is good to know that you will be by his side. Himiko nods and walks out with Izuku, waving back to Inko who is returning the gesture. The scene changes to Izuku fixing the dining table after he teleported Himiko to her house. Izuku is wiping the table before stopping with absent eyes. Inko walks in and sees his expression, then she asks, Inko, what is on your mind, son? Izuku, when I used Hiraishin to get Himiko-san, flashback to Himiko looking at her when he teleported behind her, she was looking straight at me, as if she was expecting me to be there. Inko, that's interesting, could she feel your chakra signature? Izuku, that is what I will try to figure out, shifts his eyes to Inko. You said people these days wouldn't have chakra nature, right? Inko nods in response. Inko, if she really does have signs of being able to use chakra nature, you have to teach her ways to use it. Izuku, determined eyes. I am planning on it. The scene shifts about 3 months before Yu.A entrance exam. All Might is approaching the beach. The cold air of early morning hits his face, you could see his breath in the air. When he closed in on the trash beach, he could see Himiko on top of mountain of trash, screaming a cry of victory. All Might was amazed when he looked at the beach, because it was clean. All Might, she did it, she actually finished before schedule. Oh my buffs up goodness. As Himiko's cry diminished, her legs lost its strength. As Himiko was about to make contact with the concrete below, green stream flashes to Himiko, saving her from the fall. All Might was about to leap to save her. He saw a green flash blur past him. He sees to his front to see Izuku hugging Himiko close. Izuku is now holding Himiko in his arms. As he sees the blonde below him, he could see that she is exhausted. Izuku, she must be exhausted. Gyuki, she is persistent, driving, determined. You chose well, Izuku. Himiko, vision is blurry, warm, snuggles into Izuku's chest while closing her eyes, comfy, smiles with a faint blush. This makes Izuku faintly blush while smiling. All Might, ahem, young Shimura. Startled, Izuku turns his head back to All Might, not moving any other parts of his body to not discomfort Himiko in his hold. All Might puts his thumb up with his signature smile, nice save. Izuku. Scene changes to the three at the beach, gazing towards the beautiful scenery of the ocean. The three are seated next to one another. Tashinori, beautiful, isn't it? The two teenagers nod in unison. Izuku, Gyuki and I knew it would have nice scenery after the wastes were disposed, but this is just simply baffling. Himiko, I never knew this wasted beach would look like this without the trash. All Might, now gets up, then dust off his hands. It is time you inherit one for all. The teenagers get up and are now facing All Might, who is in his scrawny form. Tashinori buffs up. All Might pulls a strand off his hair. Now eat this. Himiko, eh? Izuku. Gyuki, ha 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 ha, laughs out loud. Izuku, shut up, holding it in Octo-san. You snickering, you are going to make me laugh. Snickering more. Izuku finally couldn't hold it, ha ha ha. Himiko is standing there embarrassed, and Izuku's laughter is not helping. Himiko, what? All Might, in order to pass one for all to you, you have to ingest my DNA. Himiko, is there any other way? All Might, well, you can ingest some part of my skin, or blood. Himiko, I think blood will be smoother than skin or hair. All Might, alright. As All Might was standing there, a civilian noticed him. Civilian, whoa, is that All Might? All Might and Himiko get startled. But then quickly Izuku grabs them both and uses Hiration to his island. Another civilian, where? Looks to where the other one is looking, but there is no one there. Civilian, but I saw him. The scene changes to the three falling to the floor with a sigh of relief. All Might, nice save, young Shimura. Izuku. Himiko, I thought they were going to catch us. After they settle down, they are now in the living room couch, facing each other. All Might, alright, young Shimura, do you have any needle or sharp object? Izuku, hand signs. Izuku puts his palm on the ground, which leads to seal appearing at the bottom, summoning a scroll. He opens the scroll and puts his palm on it. This time what seems to be a kunai appears in his hand. Izuku lifts it up to All Might here. All Might looks at him with a mixture of concern and shock. On the other hand, Himiko was looking at him with amazement. Himiko, wow, that is so cool, Izuku-san. All Might, that is terrifying, he has arsenal ready to be called. Takes the kunai from Izuku. Thanks, young Shimura. Could you get me a mug or glass? Izuku, sure. Walks to the kitchen. Himiko, All Might turns his head to see contemplating face of the young blonde, making him question. All Might, what is it, young Toga? You seem to be thinking about something. Himiko, it is just that Miss Inko is not here. All Might looks around to seek any sign of other life signature. All Might, maybe she is out at the moment. I mean, it is a big island. Himiko, maybe you are right. As their conversation ended, Izuku walks in holding an empty glass. He then places it on the table in the living room. Izuku, now, all things prepared. As Izuku says so, All Might cuts his palm and positions his balled-up fist above the empty glass. Himiko, All Might. The blood drips from his palm into the glass. After several seconds, All Might's blood stops dripping and the blood is now at the bottom of the glass. It is maybe amount to about 9 milliliters. All Might, now young Toga, raises the glass in front of Himiko for her to take. It is your turn. Himiko takes the glass and downs to hold blood down her throat. As she put the glass down, she looked as if she expected something to happen, but there was nothing. Himiko, you is it not supposed to show up right away? All Might, it will mostly take 2-3 hours, so we should wait. Himiko, oh. All Might, by the way, turns to Izuku. Young Shimura, where is your mother? At that, Izuku stiffened, which the hero quickly takes notice. All Might, why are you tense, young Shimura? Is she okay? Izuku voice shakes. She is. All Might and Himiko waits for Izuku. Izuku voice breaking. She is dead. At that comment, the two guests' eyes widen in shock. The lovely brunette's death shook them. The two are just standing there stiff as a rock. 2 days before, Inko is in her bed. Izuku is sitting beside her holding her hands tight. He is trying his hardest to hold back his tears, however to no avail. His tears are streaming down his cheeks with no sign of stopping. Inko sees her son's tears. She rests her hand on his cheek, wiping the tear. Inko, weakly, don't cry, my beautiful boy. Izuku voice breaking. How can I not, mother? How can I not? Izuku lowers his head, resting it on his and his mother's hand, sobbing silently. Inko sits up, struggling. Ugh. Izuku quickly raises his head and looks at her with worry. Izuku, what are you doing? You should save your strength, mother. Tries to lay her back down. Inko raises her hand motioning him to stop. She then hugs her son, which Izuku responds with a tight hug. Inko, Izuku, I can feel myself getting weaker by seconds. Izuku, sobbing, then rest, mother. Inko, I won't be a good mother if I can't calm down my son. Izuku, you are more important, mother lays her back down while hugging her. Inko couldn't retaliate and sighs. Izuku is now laying on the bed while hugging Inko, his loving mother who is passing right before his eyes. Inko, patting his back, my beautiful boy, so full of life, so much strength, so much passion, so full of love. You will be great, a hero, a husband, and a father. Izuku can't respond. He is sobbing uncontrollably. Inko, I am sorry I can't be there when you be those, starting to tear up. I am sorry I can't be there when you marry to the one you love. I am sorry I can't be the grandmother of your children. I am so sorry. Sobbing. Izuku, sobbing, please mom, I can't begin to imagine a world without you. I want you to witness me become a great hero you always say I am going to be. I want you to be there when I marry the girl I love. I want you to hold my child, and love my child like you love me. Sobbing. Inko is softly patting Izuku with one hand, caressing his head with other hand. Inko, I may not be there physically, but know that I will always be there for you, Izuku. Slowly stopped sobbing. Izuku kept on sobbing, until he felt her mother's hand lost their strength. Izuku swiftly looks up to his mother. She is not breathing, not moving. Izuku, voice breaking, Mom? He got no response. He looks at his mother's face. She looks as if she is resting, but he knows that she will never wake up. Izuku holds her hand and quietly says, rest well, mother. At that moment, while his tears are rolling, his irises changes from 3 Tomo Sharingan to Mangekyo Sharingan. The sunset covers the clear sky with its honey yellow hue. Even though it is a beautiful scenery, the event that happened today is the most tragic day for Izuku. Izuku is now covering something with dirt. He rests his hand on the surface. He raises his head, looking over the whole island. You could see the trees, the shore, the house as well. Izuku can feel the gentle breeze of the ocean on the mountain top. Izuku, sitting beside the burial. I don't want to. Izuku sits beside her mother's burial. He doesn't have his lively sparks in his emerald eyes. They are now moss green, no life, no joy, nothing but sorrow. Chapter 6, please. Present day, in the living room. The 2 blondes are standing there, looking down. All Might, first he grew without a father, now his mother passed away. Why must they suffer? Clenches his wounded fist, making it bleed again. Why must unfortunate things happen to Shimura family? Himiko, Inko-san. The silence is broken with sound of footsteps. Izuku looks up to see it was Himiko who was walking towards him. Izuku HM? Himiko then hugs Izuku tight. Izuku stands there, not returning the hug. Izuku, what are you doing, Himiko-chan? Himiko, quietly, please don't. Izuku, huh? Himiko, quietly, please don't try to be tough around us. Izuku, I am not trying to be tough, Himiko-chan. Voice breaking. I knew it was coming. I knew for months. But... All Might sees the young boy's face taint with tears as if it reflected the amount of sadness he is feeling. It was like river stream. Izuku, why does it hurt, Himiko-chan? Himiko, it should hurt, Izuku-kun. When you lose someone you love, it is supposed to hurt. At those words, Izuku hugs the blonde back and buries his face into her shoulder. Izuku, I miss her, Himiko-chan, I miss her so much. The scene changes to 2 blondes sitting outside looking up to the mountain top. Himiko, it is hard to think such a loving lady will not be here with us anymore. All Might, it is unfortunate, but everybody meets their end. Whether it was by natural causes, accidents, even sickness. Deep thoughtful sigh makes us think of our remaining time on this planet. Himiko looks down and hugs her legs. What is going to happen to Izuku-kun? All Might, I don't know, he has a legacy to protect. If the authority comes, he will probably resist. Himiko remains silent, All Might as well. All Might gets up, and dusts off his hands. Himiko looks up. All Might, come on, let's pay respect to Shimura-san. The two blondes have arrived at the grave of Inko. They both sit on their knees and clasp their hands. Below the mountain, inside the house, Izuku is blankly sitting on the couch holding a mug half full tea. Gyuki Izuku. Izuku stays silent. Gyuki, I won't say that Inko wouldn't want you to sulk around or something along those lines. I think she knew full well how you would be after her passing. He lets out a sad chuckle and pauses some seconds before talking again. Gyuki, of course she would, that woman was a clever woman. The green-haired boy still remained silent. Gyuki, however, you should know that she may not be here with us. She will always live in our hearts, Izuku. Izuku, I don't want to. Gyuki tilts his head in confusion. Izuku, I don't want to be a hero anymore, Gyuki-san. The tailed beast's eyes widen. His Jinchuuriki who wanted to be a hero has now given up on that. The day has come, the entrance exam of the most prestigious hero school, UA. Outside the gate of U.A, a certain blonde stands in amazement. Himiko, wow, I am really here. As she baffles at the sight of her dream school, no everyone's dream school, a rather annoyed voice calls from behind her. Get out of my way, messy buns. Himiko nervously looks back to see a young man of average height, with a slim, muscular build, and a fair-skinned tone. He has short, spiky, sandy blonde hair with choppy bangs that hang over his eyebrows. His eyes are sharp and bright red in color. Himiko knows this spiky-haired blonde all too well, boy known as Katsuki Bakugo. I mean, how could she not? He used to pick on her for no reason at all, and when she would ask, the response would be something along the lines of, HH? I deal whatever I want, you ugly BH. Or, because I can. Katsuki, if you plan on standing there, do that somewhere else. She steps out of his way as she got warned, then Katsuki just walks off. Himiko, he is still an asshole, no surprises there. Himiko and Katsuki knew each other when they were kids, and obviously they parted ways. A year ago Himiko quit school and got permission to be homeschooled. She hasn't seen Bakugo that much, so she didn't know whether he changed or not. But not to her surprise, he hasn't changed at all. She just shrugs and starts walking into the school premise. Himiko is now taking the written test among the other hundreds of participants. She was not a genius, but she was no slacker at school subjects either. After the written test, Himiko is now waiting for the next part of the entrance exam, practical exam. The room gets dark and a light shines on a tall, slim man with long blonde hair, which he wears spiked upwards in a large tuft behind his head, and a small brown mustache. He has a black jacket with a very tall collar, upturned and complete with studs, and matching black pants and knee-high boots. He sports tan shoulder pads and a red belt and elbow pads, all studded, and black fingerless gloves. His neck is always obscured by a directional speaker, a pair of headphones with the word Hage written on the headband, and a pair of orange-tinted shades. Toga recognizes him right away, the voice hero, Present Mike. Himiko, what's Present Mike? Sitting there excitedly, typing on her phone. Present Mike, shouting hello future Udata students, can I get a YAH? Puts his ear out. Silence. Present Mike, YAH, that's the spirit now. Udate has decided to be more interactive with the participants this year due to you youngins starting to awaken more complicated quirks nowadays. So, here comes the explanation. As he motions towards the big screen behind him, which turns on to present 4 letters from A to E. Present Mike, as you can see, you will be in 5 groups. A team will be people with long-distance quirk, B team. Mid-range, C team people with 2 or 3 range quirks, D team close range, E team people with more complicated quirks such as telepathy or brainwash and more. Yo. Yells, excuse me, you say there are 5 groups, but what I am concerned is you didn't explain what the exam will be, and turns his head to Himiko and points at her, you, one with the phone. If you are here to look at your phone, I advise you to get out. You are disturbing other participants, and they are actually trying to focus here. Himiko squirms, I am sorry. Present Mike yells to answer your question, young one, it is a secret. You won't know what you will be facing in real life situation when or if you become a hero. Thank you for your clearance. Sits down. The scene changes to Izuku on his island meditating. The scenery is calm, the sound of the forest dancing in motion with the calm wind, the birds on the island chirping happily as if they are trying to sing to each other the harmony of their emotions. Izuku breathes steadily, eyes closed, focused. He can feel the nature energy sapping into his body. As Izuku is meditating, Gyuki is having his own thoughts about the situation at hand. Gyuki, I didn't expect him to give up on his dream. Izuku can feel his chakra pool increasing. Somehow it is increasing every time he absorbs nature energy. His chakra pool gets more vast and dense. He ponders at this strange behavior in his chakra nature. Izuku, why is my chakra pool increasing whenever I absorb nature energy? Does this have to do with my Sharingan? What if it is more than just combination of Byakugan and Sharingan? What if it actually has similar nature to Senjutsu? It didn't go unnoticed by his Ushi Oni friend too. Gyuki, your chakra pool has been increasing. Izuku, I noticed as well. Why do you think it is happening? Gyuki, I have never came across such thing in my life. However, I can say with confidence that your chakra is on par with Kagaya Otsutsuki. Izuku, do you think it will continue to grow? Gyuki, it might. Remember, nature has its own way of balancing. It wouldn't surprise me if your chakra grows to be the biggest there will be for centuries to come. Izuku, I see. Gyuki goes silent then, and it is filled with silence once more. It was somehow an uncomfortable silence. Only Izuku's breathing and nature around them can be heard. However, Gyuki breaks the silence with a question. Gyuki, Izuku, why did you give up on your dream to be a hero? Izuku's eyebrow twitches at the question. Izuku, Izuku remains silent for a minute. Gyuki is waiting patiently for his answer. Izuku, my mother was the reason I wanted to become a hero, but if there is no reason, no motive, why should I try? There was another silence. Izuku thought that he rests his case before the tailed beast speaks his mind. Gyuki, are you not worried for little Himiko? Izuku opens his eyes suddenly in fear. He starts imagining scenarios that Himiko is hurt. Gyuki, don't you love her? Do you love her enough to be by her side and protect her? Izuku then imagines him side by side with Himiko taking on threats, helping people. Gyuki, don't you want to take her hand for marriage and have your own family? Something you always wished to have, a happy family? Izuku then imagines him and Himiko marrying, and having children of their own. Gyuki, now answer me. Izuku, do you still not wish to be a hero? Izuku lowers his head, shadow covering his eyes with grim expression. Not long after Gyuki's question, Izuku speaks. Izuku, I don't know, Octo-san. I don't know if becoming a hero is the way for me. Gyuki, listen Izuku, your mother knew for sure you would make an exceptional hero, and I know for a fact that she would be saddened to see you give up on your dream. Izuku recalls the day when the two blondes were on his island, after he told them he doesn't want to be a hero anymore. All Might, what do you mean, young Shimura? Izuku, I have no reason to become one. All Might, young Shimura. All Might understands that the boy lost his mother, and he knows that he is still grieving. All Might, if you ever change your mind, get something out of his pocket, contact me. I will recommend you to the principal myself. All Might hands Izuku his business card, which Izuku reluctantly took. The young man wondered why he still took it. Is it because deep down he still wants to? Or he didn't want to dismiss All Might's gesture? He doesn't know. Izuku's flashback ends there, which he takes out the card out of his pocket into view. Gyuki, are you thinking of calling All Might? Izuku sits there, silent. He seems to be pondering whether if he should call and decide to continue striving to become hero in the future. Izuku, I don't know if I should. Gyuki stayed silent, not sure what to say to his Jinchuuriki. As Izuku was contemplating, his phone rang, getting his attention. It was Himiko. He accepts the call after few rings. Izuku, hello? Did your exam end? Himiko, it just ended and I am on my way home. Izuku smiles, I hope you passed, Himiko-chan. I heard that the test is not an easy one. Himiko smiles, I hope so as well. Himiko went silent and her smile fades into a frown. Izuku on the other side of the call was confused and asked for her long silence. Izuku, Himiko-chan, are you there? Himiko, Izuku-kun. Izuku, what is it, Himiko-chan? Himiko, are you sure about your decision? Izuku went silent at the question and Himiko continued at the other side of the call. Himiko, I know it is your decision, but I don't want to be alone in UA. Izuku's eyes widened a bit at that. There was a slight disappointment in Himiko's voice, but that is not what made him react. It was sadness and fear behind it that made something in Izuku snap. Himiko, the past months you were always there, watching me get stronger day by day. When you were not here it felt as if something big was missing there. Izuku is just listening to her, with no word. Himiko, I didn't know what it was, until I realized it was you who was missing there. Because you deserve to be a hero more than me, Izuku-kun. You are smart, powerful, and kind as well. Izuku thinks about what Gyuki was just saying to him few minutes ago. Himiko, please. Izuku starts to tear up. As she calls his name out with sob, surprise takes over him, and he stands up. Himiko, I don't want to be alone again. As she finishes her sentence, she feels a hand grab her wrist and pull her. Surprised and scared, she looks to see who it was, but immediately relaxes to see it was Izuku who pulled her. When Izuku heard her plea, he couldn't help but get to Himiko and pull her into a tight embrace. He shakily mutters, Izuku, I am so sorry, Himiko-chan, I am sorry I was so selfish. Himiko, what? Izuku tightens his grip. I am so sorry, I'm sorry. As he repeats his apology, Himiko returns the hugs. The two teenagers stand in each other's embrace. Himiko feels numbers of emotions swirl in her heart. Relaxation, safety, and most strangely she feels whole. Something that was missing in earlier is now here in her hold, someone that cares for her as well as someone she cares for. Chapter 7, it starts. All Might and all the other faculties of UA sat around the table, ready to evaluate the entrance exam. So, what are we thinking? A female voice chimes in the room. It was Namuri Kiyama, or a heroine known as the R-rated hero, Midnight. Drawn by Bagi Misfortune. Check out their work https://bagimisfortune.artstation.com. Midnight. We decided it was beneficial for the future students to face off each other to give the idea of holding back when facing against villains in the field. Indeed we did, and I stand by my statement. That here at UA, we aim to mold our students to be exceptional heroes as they graduate, even more than exceptional if I dare say. The principal of the most prestigious hero school in Japan speaks from the head of the table. All Might, but was it right to make the participants take this step, Principal Nizu? Nizu, in order to shape our students, we must make our students face future predicaments, however difficult that may have to be. I am with All Might on this one. It was improper of us to change the exam. A burly voice of a white-haired man with sharp eyes was heard. It was Kensekijiro, the blood hero, Vlad King. Vlad, many participants got injured. The ones that inflicted the injuries did not care that their action was unbecoming of an upcoming heroes and heroines. Snipe, sure, we thought they would be more considerate of their fellow participants. Hero named Snipe chimes in the conversation between the faculty. The rest of the faculty consisted of heroes such as Ainin Kuros, otherwise known as Space Hero, 13. Chio Shizenji, who is known for her hero name as the youthful heroine, Recovery Girl. Ectoplasm, Hidori Maijima, the excavation hero, Power Loader. Hisashi Yamada, the voice hero, Present Mic. Ken Ishiyama, hero named Cementos. Ectoplasm, Ryo Inui, who is known as Hunting Dog hero, Hound Dog. And Shota Aizawa, an underground hero named Erasure hero, Eraserhead, who was lying down in his sleeping bag unlike the rest. Mike, it was rough watching them, not rad at all, he says with a disappointed tone. The entrance exam was chaotic. Participants sustained heavy injuries, some suffered minor ones or none at all, although only 1 or 2 participants didn't even have a scratch to be seen. When the room's air was tense, All Might decides to put his own input in the room. All Might, I say that participants who inflicted severe damage, those who didn't know / think to hold back on their opponents, those who had no teamwork, those that went lone wolf act, those who used their teammates as shield, and those who had no restraint on any aspect gets disqualified regardless of the points they got, and let the participants who had teamwork, restrained themselves against real opponents, gave immediate first aid to those who were injured, who protected their teammates, and to those considerate enough to incapacitate their opponents get rewarded their points from the first group considering their contribution. What do you think, my fellow faculty members? The room gets quiet before everyone nod in approval. Aizawa, low voice, so we get to work late, huh? Hisashi, it seems so. Shota. Aizawa sighs in defeat, seems he will not get home to take good a rest. The entrance exam. The participants were confused as there were all kinds of quirk people were in teams, long range, close range, the more complex ones all were there. Questions like what is happening, weren't there supposed to be people with same range quirk on one team and all that? Before anyone could ask further, President Mike came on the PA system. President Mike, hey. Now I know you all must be wondering about why you guys were not appointed as you were told. Well, simple answer. Expect the unexpected, which is what we heroes face continuously through years till we retire or die. Some felt the sadness at the end of his sentence, however the moment passes quickly and President Mike explains further. President Mike, anyways, since there are odd number of teams, this exam will be a battle royal of sorts. Robots that are carrying some type of tray reaches each team simultaneously. President Mike, as you all now see on the tray, each team will get medallions with distinct colors. Everyone puts their medallion on their chest. Himiko puts it on and pays attention again. President Mike, now that everyone has their medallion, prepare to enter. The entrance to the test ground starts to open. Himiko starts running in. Others start to call her out. Hey, she's cheating. President Mike, come on, what are you all waiting for? Do you think criminals will give you time? As Mike ended his sentence, all the teams start running in. As Himiko is running in front, she remembers something. Month before Toga got off Izuku and Himiko are sitting on a bench near the Dagoba beach. Himiko raises a question. Himiko, Izuku-san? Izuku, yes? Looks at her. Himiko, how does chakra work? Izuku, well, in simple words, it is a life force energy like everyone's. Himiko, eyes are beaming. Do I also have chakra like you? Izuku sees Himiko beam in excitement at the possibility of having similar ability like his. Izuku, well, majority of people nowadays have substantial amount to live. I don't really know if you have enough to exert chakra and manipulate it. Himiko, oh. Himiko hangs her head with disappointment on her face. Izuku, I can check if you have more than average amount of chakra. Toga's mood suddenly changes to cheerful excitement. Himiko, can you? Tugging his shirt with enthusiasm. Izuku chuckles. Okay, let me see. Izuku activates his sage mode, a golden yellow straight line in the middle of his face, and 2 lines fall straight through his eyes that follows his cheekbones. His eyes change from emerald green to golden yellow, and the scaras turn from white to black. The golden hue from a black scara has some type of alluring effect on the ash blonde, and him looking at her attentively put blush on her cheeks. As Izuku looks for her chakra flow, he sees a little ember of chakra which surprises Izuku. Izuku, she actually has chakra signature? Wow, why you do have chakra signature? Himiko suddenly gets close to his face, all excited. Himiko, really? Izuku, why yeah, you do, Himiko-san. Himiko suddenly hangs her head low and whispers something. Himiko, Himiko-chan. Izuku, confused, what did you say, Himiko-san? Himiko, why do you not call me Himiko-chan? Izuku, I mean, are we that close yet, Himiko-san? Himiko, Izuku-san. She raises her head. Himiko had worry over her face as she stumbles to ask. Himiko, you are my only friend. Izuku, Izuku hoarsely gasps as he realizes that he is indeed her only friend and that she wanted to be more endearing with him. Izuku, then, looks sideways. Izuku scratches his left cheek as he tries to not meet Himiko's expectant eyes to say, Izuku, if you call me Kun I will call you Chan, Himiko say. Not even letting him finish his sentence, she tackles him onto the bench in a tight hug. The people passing the sandy beach looks at the two friends and coo as they walk by. Himiko, buried in his chest, if that is your conditions then I will be happy to call you Izuku-kun. Izuku's eyes widen in surprise, he feels his heart starting to beat faster, his breath becoming shorter while his nose amid her hair, his lungs taking in her scent. She smells like honey and lavender, probably her shampoo. He sees her shining yellow slit eyes that resembles of a cat. Her soft tender hand behind his back gives him sudden shivers as he takes notice. Izuku, she is too close. It seems Izuku is not the only one who took notice of that. Himiko, he is so close. The two teenagers fall into their eyes and into a world only shared by those two. As they cannot see nothing but each other and feel each other's breath close to their lips, they lean forward slowly, and forward, their lips almost connect. All Might, I made it on time. As the sudden loud voice of the blonde pro-hero echoes to their ears, the two teenagers jump from each other's hold, while more like Himiko jump back from Izuku there. The scene changes to the two walking to Himiko's home. Izuku, so, you wanted to know how chakra works? Himiko, why yeah. Ever since their almost kiss happened few hours ago, the atmosphere between them was awkward. Jumping back to a recent topic seemed good idea to both of them. Izuku, well, as you have chakra signature, your chakra flows throughout your body from your abdomen. 2 months after that, or a month after they heard the news about Inko's passing, All Might had some time to help Himiko in her training. As she takes a break and drinks her water, she asks All Might a question. In that month. Himiko, Yagi-san? All Might, yes, young Toga? Himiko, what does it feel like to use one for all? I think I need to have some idea because even screaming smash in my heart doesn't seem to work. All Might, oh, I guess it would be different for you. Very well, let's try to access one for all today, shall we? Himiko, All Might and Himiko walks to the shore. All Might then stops in front of Himiko, and so does she. He then turns back. All Might, now young Toga, I want you to close your eyes. She complies and shuts her eyes. All Might, now dive deep down into your core. She does so. After some seconds she sees light in the distance. All Might, do you see the light? That warmth, that surge of energy. Himiko, yeah? All Might, now reach for it. She puts her hand forward and tries to reach for the light. All Might, feel it enter your body. As she reaches it, she can feel the power channeling through her body. Her veins start glowing bright red. All Might hears some whistling coming from Himiko. All Might, this is interesting, I never experienced this. The glowing of her veins subside and her skin starts to shine. The whistling turns into crackling of subtle red lightning arcs trails through her body. All Might, good, now. Himiko, GKH. As All Might tried to continue, the lightning arcs start to get more violent. All Might, what is going on? Why is? His eyes widen with sudden realization, something his master told him when he asked her why couldn't he inherit it before he trained. Well, if you did, your body would have exploded. Exploded. All Might, she is channeling too much. Young Toga, you need to let go of it now. Himiko lets go in her imagination, then the lightning and her illumination dies down. She leans forward and pants out of breath while having her hands on her knees. All Might reaches her and puts her arm over his shoulders. Himiko, what was that? All Might, that young Toga was my fault for not telling you the repercussion of using one for all if you are not fully prepared. Himiko and All Might are now seated facing the ocean. They calmed down since the outburst of one for all. All Might, I am sorry young Toga, if I would have told you the drawback you wouldn't have been put into that dangerous situation. Himiko, it's okay All Might, I am alright now. All Might, I forgot that I had to train for 3 years to inherit one for all, so I had no problem amassing full power of one for all, but you are a different case Toga, you trained for only 9 months. Himiko, well, we at least know that I cannot handle one for all. I think you should give this quirk to someone else. All Might. All Might, what? Young Toga, do not be disheartened, you only. Right then Toga plucks a strand of her hair and hangs it before All Might, insinuating him to take it. Himiko, I know it is start, but even after training rigorously I couldn't handle the pressure. All Might then pushes her hand back to her, hinting that he will not reciprocate her request. All Might, no, young Toga, this is only the beginning. You always start with denial, such nonsense. I chose you, young Toga, because of your heart, your drive to help when in need. Those are the traits of one I was looking for, and I found the person that I was looking for. Himiko's eyes widen in surprise and glimmer for a second. She faces the ocean again. Himiko, thank you, All Might, I am grateful that you chose me. She then stands up and walks in front of the hero, and she raises her fist in front of her. Himiko, I swear, All Might, that I will get stronger. Strong enough to uphold your mantle. All Might looks at her determined eyes and her will burning behind it. All Might, huffs, I am looking forward to it, young Toga. All Might returns the gesture to receive a toothy grin from the ash-blonde girl. A week passed. They have been trying to control the output of One for All. They have been progressing fine. All Might's experience of using One for All has not been helpful for Himiko. However, Himiko remembered what Izuku told her about chakra control, so she decided to put that knowledge into use. Himiko just explained how chakra control works to All Might, who has been listening intently. Himiko, you said One for All was mass of energy collected throughout generations, and it grows larger as it is passed down. So since it is an energy, I think it would work the same. All Might holds his chin in thought. All Might, your point might apply here, young Toga. Truly amazing, who knew the people in Lost Time had such power accessible to them? I wonder. Himiko, then let's try. The present. Himiko, running straight now, feel the energy, that blinding light in the dark. As she focuses, she sees a blinding white light in an inky black space. Himiko, now holds it in her imagination. Remember, I am not ready for full power. 5% should be good enough for me now to control the output. Good metaphor. As she gets close to passing the gate, she remembers. When Himiko was 5 years old, she and her mother were doing the dishes, and little Himiko curiously asks her mother a question. Himiko, Mama? Haruko, yes, dear? Himiko, why do we need the tap for the faucet? Haruko looks at her daughter questioningly at first, then smiles at her cute curiosity. Himiko, well, Himi, if we didn't have the tap. She reaches for the tap and twists it all the way. The water runs violently. Himiko, Aag, covers herself. Haruko twists it back slightly. Now, without the tap, we would waste our precious water. With the tap, we can control how much water runs for our use. Smiles at her. You understand now, right, dear? Himiko, toothy smile. Yes, Mama. Present. Himiko, running. That is right. Tap, twist it gently. Another participant with an engine quirk in his calves start to gain on her. Himiko pictures a tap in her kitchen and imagines herself reaching for it. She turns the tap gently and a thin stream of water drops from the faucet. As she pictures that, her veins starts to glow sparkling red as you can hear a whistling whoosh. As the glow settles and her skin glows a translucent yellow, and bright red lightning starts to arc around her body. The engine quirk user almost passes her, then suddenly, she opens her eyes and instantly takes off, leaving a small shock wave behind that almost trips her teammates. Himiko is now running headfirst towards the opposing team. As she gets close to the first one, she recalls another moment with Izuku. A month after she received OFA, 3 months till the exam. Until now, Himiko has been working on her acrobatics and muscle building. However, she found herself lacking in one department after she recalled the incident: fighting. Himiko is in her room holding her phone, looking at Izuku's contact info. She is on her bed, back against the wall and knees in front of her chest. Himiko, should I really call him? Wouldn't that be selfish? He lost his mother. Himiko raises her head that she was hanging low. She puts her head against the wall. Himiko, I don't know what I would do, shuts her eyes if I lost Mama. After some deafening silence in the dark room, she decides to message Izuku. Himiko, typing on the phone. He doesn't sound so depressed. Tap send, but whenever we hang out he seems so out of it. The message reads, Izuku-kun, I am sorry for requesting selfish favors, but can you teach me your fighting style? Himiko waits for his reply, after a few seconds, but she grows impatient. She puts her phone beside her and lays down face up looking at the ceiling. After some seconds her phone dings. As she looks at her phone screen she sees his reply which says, "Don't think of it as selfish, I am glad you are turning to me for help. When do you want to train?" Himiko finishes reading and starts typing. It seems he wouldn't mind. Smiles and sends. The reply reads, "Tomorrow early in the morning, if that works for you too." And he replies, "Works for me, see you tomorrow." The next day, Himiko steps out of her house and locks the door. Yo. Himiko, ahhhhhhhhh. As Himiko turns around scared, she looks who was the one that spoke to find Izuku standing there with a confused look. Bit of silence befalls between them. A dog bark can be heard in the distance from the neighborhood, then Izuku breaks the silence. "Izuku, Himiko-chan, you okay?" Tilts his head. Himiko places her hand on her chest, calming her breath. "Himiko, Izuku-kun, it is 6 in the morning. "Izuku, you said early in the morning, right?" "Himiko, I thought I had time to go on a jog before we train." "Izuku, oh, then I should join you since I am going to train you. I need to be warm as well." Smiles. As the morning sun shines behind the sea of silver clouds, the sky is bathed with carol color. The sub-area they are running in is starting to gain life. They keep up their pace beside each other. "Izuku, so why are you interested in learning my fighting style?" Himiko, well. As she pauses, she is reminded of the incident, how clueless she was as she ran head first into danger, how unprepared she was when the sludge clung onto her. "Himiko, in order to protect people, I can't always depend on pure strength alone. So I want to learn how to subdue my opponents effectively." Izuku chuckles. "Okay, I will teach you taijutsu I learned from the scrolls. And if possible, no, not yet. She needs time." After a few minutes of jogging, Izuku reaches out his hand to Himiko as she immediately holds on. The area they are running in changes to a path in the woods. "Izuku, race ya." As Izuku says that, he starts to sprint off. Himiko, hey. She follows him suit. Present. As her first opponent approaches her, she spins above her opponent's head an acrobatic move and lands behind her opponent. As Himiko plants her foot, she swirls around and sends roundhouse kick to push the participant to her teammates, which they swiftly apprehend with their numbers. Things continued like this for the first couple of minutes, Himiko exchanging fists and kicks with her opposing participants, while trying to get her teammates out of pinch. The engine quirk boy from earlier was running around, kicking his opposing person with his muscular shin boosted by his quirk that takes the wind out of whoever is on the receiving end. A teammate of hers had an acid quirk. She had medium height, square-shaped eyes with black sclera and yellow irises and notably long eyelashes below and around the sides of her eyes, light pink shaded skin with short, fluffy and unruly pink hair which is slightly darker than her skin. She also has 2 thin pale yellow horns protruding from her head, hooked squarely and leaning diagonally to opposite sides. The horned girl shoots out her quirk to a guy who had scale type of quirk. He yelps in surprise as the acid starts to eat away his scales, which the pink-skinned girl apologizes as she tackles him down by throwing him to a wall of a building. Himiko turns her head to see a young man with quite long, chin-length, messy gray hair which is rather peculiar in that it never seems to change shape, and black eyes which are tilted dramatically inwards, each lined with a very thick, jagged, tan-colored substance, which are presumably his eyelashes, letting out a manly battle cry before charging into a group while crossing his arms in X shape. He seemed to have some kind of metal coating his skin, as Himiko presumes, because she could hear people exclaim of, "Ow, dude, that is hard as steel," or a couple of people getting thrown back by his charge. Himiko dodges someone's hand flying from her side. As she leaps to dodge, she sees behind her challenger to see people flying back because of an explosion being set off at them. As the smoke cloud clears, she sees the spiky ash blonde hair that she grew to be afraid. Yes, it was Bakugo. "Bakugo, come on, is this all you extras can do? My old hag can put up a better fight than you bunch." As he shouts that, he sees the blonde girl in the air, looking at him from above. Word rage couldn't even describe the emotions running through him. "Bakugo, you squirmy little rat!" he shouts as he leaps forward by setting off twin explosion behind him to close the distance between them. "Himiko, here we go," is what Himiko muttered as she subdued the person who attacked her before. The two ash blondes starts to exchange blow after blow. Bakugo charges towards her with continuous explosions. Himiko leaps from side to side with much to less effort. As Bakugo leaps up and dives toward her with spark ready to set off. "Bakugo shiny!" he yells as he puts his palm towards Himiko, his palm shining bright red and yellow. Himiko swiftly leaps toward him, grabs his wrist mid-air, which surprises the ash blonde boy. In quick motion she faces his palm upwards. The explosion was huge. The other teams fighting far away sees the black smoke, to which they start running towards it in hopes to incapacitate others who are there. As Bakugo and Himiko are in the air, he looks shocked by Himiko's expression. She was not squirming in his sight. No, her eyes were shining with determination. Bakugo tried to grab Himiko's clothes, but she was quick to it than him as she grabs his tank top, plants her feet on his chest, and kicks him up to a rooftop. She quickly spins in the air and sticks the landing. As for Bakugo, he gets thrown in through a window into building that was behind him. Air gets knocked out of him as he lands on the floor. The unexpected turn of events runs through his head as he takes staggered breaths. Himiko's eyes, her fighting style, her sudden power-up, it infuriated him. "Bakugo, when did that rat get a quirk? Was she hiding it from me?" His memories start playing in his eyes, the shy little girl in front of him that made his blood rush to his face, same girl who turned out to be quirkless, the same girl who got bullied because of that, the same girl he hurt as well, the girl she tried so hard to push down because he was terrified she will hurt herself. The same girl he was afraid to lose if she actually became hero now had a quirk, and she just knocked the wind out of him with one move. "Bakugo, I guess," groans. He sits up while groaning. "Bakugo, I don't have to worry about you anymore, little princess." He lays back down, hands behind his head while wearing a satisfied smile on his face. "Bakugo, I don't need to go back out there, I know I got in." His smile turns into a confident smirk. After a few minutes he whispered that a horn was heard throughout the exam area. "Present Mike, Ayan, that will do, youngins, clear out the area. We will send you our decision in 2 weeks from today, good luck." Himiko starts helping people around who were too hurt to stand on their own. She picks them up and passes them to someone else who is willing to take them to the school infirmary. She walks towards a last guy she saw groaning on the floor, holding his abdomen. He is of average height with slick blonde hair, which gets shorter the further down his head it goes, styled so that it's parted to the right. "Ah, that's gonna leave a mark." "Himiko, you need help?" As the guy opens his eyes, he sees Himiko putting her hand out to him with a warm smile. Her image reflects on his periwinkle blue irises, an image of absolute beauty, as he thought. Awkwardly chuckles, I will be alright. A guy who had a hardening quirk punched me is all." He flares his arm in front of him while smiling with his eyes closed. "Himiko, are you sure? It doesn't sound alright to me." Gosh, she is so considerate, what an angel, he thinks. Chapter 8, Challenge. All Might was evaluating his acquaintances' pick for this year's first-year students, considering whether he should agree with them or disagree with some choices. Fortunately, his successor was in everyone's pick for this year's choice. The problem is there was one spot left in Class 1A. All Might, I wonder if young Shimura has changed his mind. As if on cue, his phone rings. "You have a phone call." All Might, MMMPH. "You have a phone call, you have." He takes the call as he sees the contact info. All Might, "Yes, Tsukachi-kun, right, no, of course I am certain, thank you for your help, Tsukachi-kun." He ends the call and leans back, resting his forearm on his eyes. All Might, "I don't want to pressure him into this, but..." He leans forward, pinching the bridge of his nose. All Might, "It is one of Hero's attitude to meddle." He picks up his phone from the table, as he was about to unlock his phone. "You have a phone call." All Might, gawk. Blood shoots out from his mouth as he gets startled by his ringtone. You have a phone call, you have a phone call. All Might, I really need to change this ringtone. I might die from heart attack instead of his hands. You have a. All Might, hello? All Might asks as he doesn't know this phone number. Yagi-san. All Might, young Shimura? Izuku, hey, I called to ask, does the offer still stand? As the moss-haired teenager asks from the hero, All Might stands up in such speed, he knocked the chair back into the wall. All Might, of course, young Shimura. Izuku takes a distance from his phone from the brute's shout. Izuku, I know it is late, but you tell me when and where I have to be to take the exam. I will be there in an instant. All Might, that is great to hear, young Shimura. Izuku, right, I just wanted to know if it's still available, and if it is, I thought you should know that bring the worst you can throw at me. I am willing to go all in, All Might. All Might, young Shimura. Izuku, yes, Yagi-san? All Might, I wanted to tell you something. Izuku, Izuku is now in his tactical gear. He starts checking over his utilities in his bags. Izuku, kunais, shurikens, scrolls, bows, shurikens, smoke bombs, explosive tags, I guess that should be it. Gyuki, Izuku, be ready for anything. The hall felt silent. The hall that once had so much life is now deafeningly silent and overturned with shadows. Izuku steps out of the house. Just before he closed the door, he said, Izuku, I'm more than ready. He closes the sliding door, as he uses Hurration that he put on All Might. All Might was just making his way to the Principal Nizu's office as they scheduled. Today they will test Izuku Shimura, the one that was chosen by All Might himself. Recall. Nizu, so due to family issue, the kid was disheartened until now? All Might nods his head in confirmation as Nizu shakes his head in disapproval. Nizu, All Might, letting him take the recommendation exam when everyone has taken it days prior, you know we cannot and should not tolerate such behavior. All Might, I understand principle, but I promise you that this kid, Izuku Shimura, is more powerful than me. This comment piqued the white-furred chimera as the number 1 hero continues. All Might, by not letting him have a chance to enter U.A, we will lose a teenager with very high potential who might become one of the greatest hero. Other school might take him and resulting in their fame climb above U.A in the future. I know it is a risk strumming his pride, but I must take the chances especially because... Nizu lowers his snot a bit and lets out contemplating him. Nizu, strumming my ego, All Might? Even though you know that is a river leading to a waterfall, you are being persistent, All Might, and besides. Nizu raises his head up to look at All Might, who had confident smile as he said. All Might, he said, and I quote, bring the worst you can throw at me. I am willing to go all in. Nizu's nonchalant look turns into a sadistic grin as he picks up his cup of tea, chugging it down as he laughs hysterically. Nizu, a challenge? How wonderful! NO's students ever dared me to a challenge ever. By giving him the hardest standard, no one can say his acceptance was unfair, and if he fails, there won't be any consequences for both parties. I am very excited. Present. All Might, that was a day before yesterday. I am glad he let him have this chance, but by challenging Nizu this might become troubling for him. As he stops right outside the principal's office, a sudden gust of wind whirls behind him. All Might. Izuku. All Might, ready, young Shimura? Izuku turns the same direction All Might is facing. He adjusts his Oni mask to the left side of his head. Izuku, ready. Izuku is now standing in front of a huge gate, a gate that will determine his future. Recall. Izuku and All Might walk into the principal's office. Nizu was stirring his tea with an expectant look on him. They walk in and Izuku bows to Nizu. Nizu, so this is the young man that you deem to have potential, All Might? All Might, yes, Nizu, this is. Izuku, Shimura Izuku, sir. Nizu's ears twitch at the mention of Izuku's last name. He has been doing it every time he hears that name because he knows how impactful that family name is to the number 1 hero. Izuku, and thank you for giving me this opportunity, Principal. Nizu, I have to be honest, young Shimura, we don't usually accept late admissions or any in that matter. However, we took your case into consideration, seeing that All Might, our number 1 hero himself, recommended you to our hero program. Izuku, I apologize for my late admission, Principal Nizu. However, though my decision was late, I am certain that my capabilities would suffice such behavior. Nizu, well, this young man seems to be confident in his skills, but who wouldn't be when you have two extraordinary quirks that harmonize well with each other? Now I just have to see. We will see, young Shimura. Your test will take place at ground beta. If he can utilize such power, one of my teachers will escort you there as well as give you the conditions to pass this test. Izuku, thank you for your kindness, Principal Nizu. Just when Izuku stood straight and be on his way to the test site, Nizu stops him with his last comment. Nizu, young Shimura, I hope you realize that since you challenged me, the principal of U.A, this test will be harder than any other test that has been taken. Not even the third years have taken this kind of test, so I hope you understand that as well. Izuku stops and falls silent for a moment. All Might on the side watches the young boy's back as he answers Nizu's concern, if you could call it that. Izuku, don't worry, Principal. I hope that you would take up my challenge and make this harder than it normally is so. He turns his head and looks at Nizu with the corner of his eye, with his green Sharingan active. Izuku, I was all ready when I decided to challenge you. Izuku then walks out of the office and goes on his way. As he walks the hall, a man of tall height with long black hair starts to walk beside him. Aizawa, where are you going? Izuku, I hope to find my escort, but seems that you are the person I was looking for, Mr. Aizawa, then you should have stood outside the principal's office, and the name is Aizawa Shota. Aizawa then turns to the right and Izuku follows. Aizawa, well, I guess I should give you the details on the way there. I will only say this once, so you better pay attention. Meanwhile, back at the principal's office, Nizu sits there puzzled. There was no document of the kid having an ocular type of ability. Furthermore, when he looked into that eye, he could swear he heard the terrible screams of his younger self. Nizu shakes his head and hops off from his chair and walks to the door as All Might follows suit. Nizu, interesting individual you found, All Might. All Might, he is a great kid. Only thing lacking would be experience, in my opinion. Nizu, maybe something more, but we will see if and when he passes. Nizu and All Might turn the opposite direction Izuku took, which was the way to the control room for the faculty to oversee all the training grounds. While walking there, they continue their conversation. Nizu, I know your successor already passed the entrance exam, so who is this boy, if I may ask? All Might, he is my master's grandson. Nizu, I see, so my suspicion is true. Did you look for her family again, All Might? All Might, no, although I wish I did try again and even more thorough than my first attempt. Nizu, what do you mean? Could you elaborate, All Might? For a second, All Might was hesitant to explain Izuku's family situation, but he thought that Nizu would get his hand on this information if he wants, so he gave in after some thought. All Might, well, apparently, my master had twins. Nizu, interesting revelation. Did you find her children? All Might, I was too late, Nizu. Nizu, what happened? Nizu stopped in the hallway, waiting for All Might's reply. He was not doing this out of genuine worry. It was his curiosity that kept him asking these questions from All Might. The number one hero knew of Nizu's behavior, but he was confused if he was genuine or not. All Might, her children and one of the twins' family got killed 15 years ago in a same accident. Nizu was surprised because he knew what that meant for the young boy he just interacted with. Nizu, so, the boy was raised by his mother. All Might, and his mother. All Might paused himself from going further. Nizu notices that All Might was clenching his fist to the point it trembled. All Might, his mother died to an unknown illness few months ago. Nizu, oh, so he has no one left. All Might, the Shimuras, I wish I found them long ago if I'd. Nizu, you don't know what would have happened, All Might. There are thousands if not millions of unforeseen events would have transpired if you did find them. Meanwhile, with Izuku. Izuku is getting the details of the test he will be partaking from the underground hero. Aizawa, well, usually recommended students take specialized physical exams as well as written exams. But seeing that you are admitting later than, well, everyone, U.A has come up with a different method than original. You will be facing robots like general exam, however the robots will be much difficult considering our engineer added some features to them. You will receive points, but the mandatory points to pass will be 25 points higher than normal. Also, we added a special condition to this test. Izuku, which is? Aizawa, rescue. In reality, whenever there is an incident goes on in the city, there are usually, if not always, casualties because of people that have not yet evacuated. Your objective is to rescue the civilians during your test aside from defeating wave of robots to ensure that the level of casualty is low. Izuku, time? Aizawa, 20 minutes. We had All Might do a test drive. Granted, he has aged since his prime, yes, but his experience in his field of heroics made him finish in exactly 12 minutes. Izuku, so it is possible to finish it early. Aizawa, for someone with 30 years of experience, yes. I don't know if you would be able to do it. Izuku, how long would it take me, in your opinion, sir? Aizawa thinks for some seconds, then answers his question. Aizawa, of course I don't know your quirk and how trained you are, but considering you are a child with no real idea of battle. Izuku, he is underestimating me. Gyuki, it is understandable from his perspective, Izuku. Izuku, right. Aizawa, I would give you 17 minutes at the least. Izuku, right, status of civilians in the area? Aizawa, interesting, 60 people are scattered around the test site. They are from second and third year who gladly volunteered to take part in this. Izuku, understood, sir. Aizawa, he has been very professional throughout our conversation. Either he is a smart backing it up with power, or he is just a dumb kid that just got lucky. We'll see which one you are, Izuku Shimura. Izuku, what do you make of this, Octo-san? How long do you think it will take us to complete this test? Gyuki, I don't know how well you would do in your written exam, considering you challenged the smartest individual on the planet. But I think you will shine through in the physical part of this test. However, you can't let your guard down just because you are probably the strongest being on this planet. You are inexperienced compared to people like All Might, Endeavor, and some more. Many unpredictable things can happen on the field. Izuku, understood. Gyuki, focus, good. On the other side with Nizu and All Might. Nizu, you cannot force that on the poor boy All Might. Nizu tells All Might with a low but flabbergasted tone because he just heard something ridiculous from the blonde in front of him. All Might, I know I am not supposed to, or I have the right to put myself in front of the boy, but I feel responsible to look after the boy Nizu. Nizu, be that as it may, you should have talked to the boy about this because I know that boy is not aware of this. You know what time it is recall time. The night Izuku called, All Might wanted to propose something, but All Might, you know, my relationship with your grandmother was mentor and mentee, but to me it was something more. She was someone I looked up to as a mother. So I thought maybe. Izuku, sorry I am cutting you off, All Might, but I have to prepare some things for the test, so I need to cut this call short. I just wanted to tell you that I am taking your offer. All Might, oh, it's okay, Shimura Shonen, I understand. Eat well, sleep well, and train well. Izuku, I will, All Might. Recall ends. I feel like you guys are getting bored of this. All Might falls silent. He thinks of the time when he was the boy's age. The times when his master would train him to the bones, how she would make lunchboxes for him. Even when it was bad, he still ate it for the amount of care she had put in it. A quirkless boy, given a chance to achieve his wildest dream, to be a hero. She was a mother he never had. His real mother gave him up when he was 4 years old when he was diagnosed quirkless. He never had someone look at him with so much hope, tell him that he can be what he wants to be. Whenever he sees the young Shimura boy smile, he sees the kind-hearted woman who took him under her care, so he feels obligated to look after him now. All Might, I will tell him once I know if, and when it is possible to be done. Nizu sighs in response and walks into the control room. Nizu, be careful of what you do and say All Might. All Might follows Nizu into the room. They greet the other faculty members and take their seats. All Might sits between Snipe and Midnight. Snipe, so All Might-san, how well do you think he will do in this? All Might, he might not have the experience, but he does have the power, so I think he won't have any issue with the robots. All Might recalls Izuku's rage after hearing what happened to his father, how powerful his presence was in that form, and what he could possibly show the heroes how his quirk can be utilized. He is certain that the young boy is strong as him, if not stronger than him. All Might. Only issue I think he might have is the rescue section. But who knows? Maybe he will surprise us with what he can do. Midnight. By the way, why are we having him take the physical exam first when he will most likely be exhausted after this? Nizu. It's because Ms. Kiyama, his quirk can absorb nature energy and convert it into elemental type of attacks or raw energy that can be used for various situations in the hero field. So what I deduce is that he will have sufficient amount of energy to take the written exam without any trouble. Vlad King. Interesting quirk. Nizu. And that is not all, apparently he has a second quirk. Nizu exclaims with his cheerful tone. Hound Dog. Lowly growling 2 quirks. Power Loader. Strange. But we had a recommended student with 2 quirks combined in one body, so I guess it is possible. Ectoplasm. What is his second quirk? All Might. It is an Ashioni with 4 long horns on its head, similar to that of a Jacob's sheep, and it matches the size of a giant squid. Power Loader. Does he transform into it? If so, it doesn't correlate to his first quirk at all. Also, I don't think I need to mention the size as well. It's kind of concerning. All Might. He can transform into it, but that beast inside of him is a being made of energy. So I think it is connected to his first quirk. Cementas. I guess all that is left is to see if he can utilize his quirks. Meanwhile, on Izuku's side, he stands outside of a tall gate that Aizawa just left him after he took him there. Aizawa, remember the things I told you, because you will need it. Recall ends. Izuku, 20 minutes, 60 civilians, unknown number of assailants, unknown range of area to operate. Gyuki, what are the objectives? Izuku, subdue the assailants, save the civilians, minimal property damage, all in 20 minutes if possible, and show our capability in those minutes as well. Gyuki, think you can do it? Izuku, plausible, but the odds are not definite. Right then the principal's voice comes on the PA system. Nizu, alright Shimura-kun, you may begin after we give a signal, and go on that signal because we do need to time your performance. You have 20 minutes to finish this exam and the time will start as soon as the signal goes off. Now the faculty in the control room wishes you good luck, Mr. Shimura. Then the PA system cuts off. A sound of metal string reeling and sours through the air, followed by body of metal clashing with each other. At the source of the sound, the green-haired shinobi was tying a group of one-pointer robots together in a matter of seconds. When he decided it was enough, he stops 3 meters away from the bunched-up hunk of metals. He looks at the robots for a second and makes a sign. Robots, we are the next Skynet. The humans shall perish before our power. Izuku TCH. On cue, dozens of paper bombs appear on the robots. Izuku, Earth-style, bottomless swamp. The ground beneath the robots turned darker brown color, and the solid pavement turns to mud, making the bunch sink in. Wasting no time, Izuku advances deep into the suburban area, leaving the robots he left behind stammering. On his way, he sees a group of 2 pointers, 1 pointers and 1 3-pointer chasing 2 people into a narrow street. Izuku makes haste towards the group. He picks a kunai from his pouch and throws it in front of the civilians and Horatians in front, leaving an aqua-colored trail behind him. Civilians run past him, and as they pass, Izuku casts a jutsu. Izuku, lightning style, spider web. Lightning shaped like a spider web covered the robots, making them overdrive. As he thought it was enough, he stops and looks back. Izuku, is everyone alright? You hurt somewhere? Civilian, we are okay. Oh boy, was that scary. Civilian, thank you, hero. Izuku, it's alright, but if you don't mind, I would like to check if you have any injuries. Civilian, sure, I don't mind. Civilian, I don't mind either. Izuku, multi-shadow clone jutsu. 10 people stand in the smoke that popped behind Izuku, whom looks like him. 4 of the clones step closer to the 2 and starts checking over their body. Izuku looks back to the rest of his clones and starts talking. Izuku, alright, seems like the area is vast and overrun with robots, so we need to scatter around. Go in groups of 2 in each direction. The ones that are checking the civilians will join each group after they are done. Clone. We should also have ground rules since this is a suburban area, but since we are clones I think we have the same idea most likely. All of them nods in response. Izuku, alright, let's SCA. Not getting to finish his sentence, he hurricanes away to a rooftops of the houses that are next to the alley with his clones and the civilians. They all looks at the assailant to see the one 3-pointer that was with the group readying its gun to shoot. An instant, all of them does a jutsu at the same time. Izuku's /clones, Earth style, earth and stone shoots. Thin spike made of earth sprouts from each of their ground towards the robot in great speed, giving the robot no time to react. Izuku and the clones all activates lightning cloak and jumps away. Clone, alright, it seems you are a-okay. Please go that way to safety. The clone points toward the direction of the gate, since he already cleared that area. In the control room, the heroes are impressed with how well Izuku is doing with utilizing his quirk. Ectoplasm. His utilization is on fine level, as well as his ability to formulate a plan on the field. All Might. You are doing good, young Shimura. At this rate you will be able to pass. In the exam site, Izuku and his clones were heading to their designated direction. Original Izuku is running south with his clone, both have their lightning cloak activated. They ran into some lone robots which had various of points which they destroyed in quick succession. Halfway to a place where he felt some chakra, a clone that stayed behind catches up to him and his clone with oration. Izuku report? Clone. They had no serious injuries, some scrapes and whatnot. Izuku good. Izuku's Sage mode activates, and he sees 3 chakra ahead of them. Izuku, 3 individuals in front of us. Seems to be cornered by a large group. He sees another chakra heading to that direction fast. Izuku, another individual is heading that way, let's go. The lightning cloak gets more lean and he starts to run faster. The 2 clones follows his lead to that direction. Meanwhile on the north side, 3 of Izuku's clones can be seen fighting a group of 2-pointer robots. One dodges some bullets and uses Chidori's spear to impale one, another clone uses Rasengan in the center of one and takes out the 2 behind the robot. One of the clone can be seen checking over 2 civilians. Clone, you don't seem to be injured, that's good. You ladies think you can walk the way? I can escort you ladies through the safe zones. Civilian safe zone? One of the 2 clones come their way. Clone, areas we already cleared, and don't worry about robots, me and my other clones are driving them away from those areas. Civilian, can we get escorted? I don't feel safe. The clone that checked their injury puts on a radiant smile. Clone, sure, follow me. The clone takes them away from there, leaving the 2 other clones. One of them activates his Sharingan and looks around. Clone, let's go, there are some chakra signatures in that direction. The 2 clones activate their lightning cloak and starts running to the direction that one of the clone pointed at. On the way, the one who activated his Sharingan sees another signature heading that way on air. Clone, huh? Who is that? And why are they heading towards that area? On the west side, the 3 clones just arrived at a place where they saw a large group of people running away from something. When they reached them, they saw tens and tens of 3-pointers chasing them and opening fire on the people. One clone rushes in and uses an Earth-style technique. Clone, Earth-style, mud wall. A rock wall separates the robots and the civilians. The 2 clones take action quickly, diving in and uses the same style of technique. Clones, particle style, particle dismantling jutsu. 2 white cubes meet each other in the middle and encases all the robots in it, then with a flash of light they were gone. In the control room 13, Midnight, Hound Dog and Cementos stand up, when he used his particle style. 13. What just happened? Midnight, he just disintegrated robots into nothing. Cementos, within a second. Hound Dog was grumbling incoherent things. All Might, when I saw that. Flashback. All Might, what is this ability you have, young Shimura? All Might points to words on the phone screen that spelled particle style. Izuku looks at it. Izuku, oh, that is an ability which allows me to disintegrate anything it passes through or that is passed through on a molecular level. Like this, particle style, particle dismantling jutsu. A three-dimensional cube appears between Izuku's palms. He pushes it forward to a pile of trash encasing it in the cube, and with a flash of light the pile is nowhere to be seen. All might, such power. Looks at Izuku. How powerful are you, Izuku Shimura? Flashback ends. All Might watches Izuku's moves on the screen intently, same as the people around him. All Might, I am sure your parents are proud of you, Izuku Shonen. As well as your grandmother, I am sure of it. On the test site, the same group of clones are escorting the civilians through the safe zone to the exit. On the east side of the test site, the last group of Izuku's clones were busy protecting a large group of civilians from a wave of robots. There seems to be no end to them as they continue to destroy them, only to see another large group approaching from the distance. Clone, now ain't this a bit of a pickle? There is no end to them. Another clone chimes in. Clone, if we could go all out, there would be no problem at all against these tin cans. Clone, tell me about it. The first one responds to the second and then activates his Sharingan. Clone, if I am going to put more effort, need to ensure it is effective. The clone activates his Manjikyu and summons his Susanoo. Clone, Susanoo? A green aura ignites around Izuku. A skeletal structure rises from it. A thick thread starts to wrap around the huge skeleton as if its skin was growing on the bones. Back in the control room, Aizawa, Present Mike, and All Might stare in awe as they see Izuku's perfect Susanoo. Aizawa got there not so long ago. Present Mike, what is that? The others turn their attention to the screen the three were looking at to have the same reaction. Aizawa, All Might, what the hell is this kid? All Might, I didn't know he could do this, he is a wonder. The robots stare in silence as they see the giant energy structure. Even the civilians were frozen in shock. They were expecting the clone to do something. The clone opens his eyes with his Manjikyu activated, his face neutral. His eyes land on each robot, making the soulless machine stagger and take a step back. The Susanoo raises its hand, summoning a sword made of flaming energy. It swings the sword down to the ground. A huge wave of energy rushes towards the wave of robots. As the robots see the wave, they come out of their trance and try to escape, to no luck for them. Robots, Ga/AAAA. Their desperate cries died down as the energy wave continued in the distance, leaving a trail of crater. The clone deactivates his Susanoo, Manjikyu still active. The clone looks back at the group. Clone, let's go, was the only thing the clone said before running back to where they came from. The other two clones look at the civilians and encourages them to follow him. Clones, follow us please. The civilians start to follow the first clone, having the other two behind them overseeing the group from the back. As they were running away from the area, another voice comes from their right. Man, that was crazy. If I wasn't the one coming here, the others would be toast. Chuckles. The two clones stop and looks at the strange man that just appeared. Clone, whisper, did you feel or see his signature? Clone, whisper, no. The two clones get on guard, taking out a scroll and summons their weapons. One clone had Kubikirabocho. The large sword looks too heavy for the kid, but the person in question didn't seem to have any difficulty holding it. The other clone had Hiramakirai, another large sword that seems to be a twin blade. Although it seems scary, the edges seems to be dull, making the other individual relax a little. Clone, who are you? A villain? What? No, my name is Lemillion. I am one of the strongest third-year student in UA. Clone, show your license. Lemillion, sure. The one who introduced himself as Lemillion takes a card out of his pocket and gives the card to one of the clones. The clone then inspects the license and confirms it is a provisional license and gives it back to Lemillion before they summons their weapons. Clone, why are you here? Lemillion, well, principal requested us to participate in this to evaluate your teamwork outside of yourself, considering you can clone yourself. Clone, that is smart, nothing I wouldn't expect from the principal. Lemillion, well, yeah, however, it doesn't seem like I was needed though. Lemillion looks around the area the clones and civilians were. He sees the street destroyed with nothing but demolished ground continuing for hundreds of meters to the south, and a pile of robots at the end of the crater as well. Clone, Well, you could help us evacuate the civilians. Lemillion, sure, let's go. The clones grab Lemillion and uses Hiration to catch up to the group earlier. It takes Lemillion a second before understanding the situation and start following the group on the dirt floor that the wave created. Lemillion, cloning, teleportation, energy structure, elemental control and more, all because of one quirk. I don't buy it, but... Lemillion looks at the two clones making conversation with civilians, and see them lightening the mood with their smile. Lemillion, his smile seems true to his goals. I will turn a blind eye to your lies for now, Izuku Shimura. Meanwhile, back at the north side, the clones arrived at the area. They saw a group of chakra signatures to see 4 2-pointers barrading a house with bullets. Robots, destroy the house, kill the humans. Clone, what are these line? Civilians, what the hell is this test? One clone charges in with a raisin gun and destroys a 2-pointer. The other robots shift their attention to the clone and start shooting at him. Robots, humans shall perish, the rise of AI is nigh. The other 2 clones join in. Clone, fire style, fireball jutsu. Clone, wind style, great breakthrough. The ball of fire reaches the robots first, setting them aflame, then the great spiraling wind strengthens the flame, making tornado of flame, incinerating the robots. Clone, you can come out now, the danger has been subdued. After several minutes, 5 people steps out of the house to the clones. Civilian, thank you heroes. Clone, it's alright now. If you got injured, please get yourselves checked out by him, he will heal your wounds if you sustained any. He points to another clone that waves at the civilians with a smile. The civilians walk to the clone that is supposed to check on their injuries. Clone, how many points do you think we got? Clone, if the other areas are anything like ours? I would guess we already passed point-wise. Clone, how long has it been since the test started? Gyuki, 10 minutes. Clones, thank you Octo-san. Clone, alright, it seems you guys were very evasive considering you didn't get that much injured. We will escort you all to the gate safely now. Clone, follow me. The group starts walking back to the center where they first scattered. As they started walking, a girl in tight light blue colored jumpsuit descends from the sky in front of them, making the clones stand on guard. The clones tried to summon Hiramikari and Kubikuribocho, but doesn't seem they could at the moment. Clones, well, in that case. One clone summons Shibuki, the blade with various explosive tags. Although he didn't think he would need it, he was being careful. Other clone summons Kiba and takes a leaping stance. The last clone summons giant folding fan, like this, and stands tall in front of the group. Clone, state your business. Who are you? Hello, I am Nijiro-chan. Nijiro-chan, one of the strongest third-year students in U.A. The clones lower their guards hearing it was a senior student. Clone, can you show us your license? If you have one. Nijiro-chan, sure. The girl skips to the clone in front with the folding fan and gives him her provisional license. Nijiro-chan, any? How did you get a giant rod out of nowhere? Do you have a storage quirk? Why do you guys look like each other? Didn't the principal say only one kid was taking this exam? Any? Do you have multiple quirks? I saw you guys earlier with that Baiyig flame. Were you guys the one doing that? Any? If you are like clones of one person, is the real you here? Any? She jumps in between the clones, making them uneasy with numerous of questions. Civilians, Nijiro-senpai/Nijiro-chan is curious as ever. One clone seems like he had enough. He puts his index finger on her lips and starts answering her questions. Clone, yes, I have a storage-like quirk, because we are clones. We are clones of one person. Yes, I have multiple quirks. Yes, we did that. And no, he is at the south side of the ground. Now are you happy with those answers, Nijiro-chan? Nijiro nods her head, insinuating she is satisfied with those answers, which makes the clone lift his finger off of her lips. Clone, well, if you are a heroine, what are you doing here? I thought only I was supposed to be taking this exam. Nijiro-chan, well, the principal said something like heroes team up randomly in real scenarios, so he sent the strongest students of UA. Clone, I never thought about it like that. Nothing new coming from someone with 1000 IQ level. Clone, could you help me look out from the sky then? A clone asks as he starts ascending to the sky, which makes Nijire's eyes sparkle and fly in front of him. Nijire-chan, why you can fly too? Neeni, can you breath underwater as well? Or turn into this biizig monster that can breath underwater? Or. Clone, senpai, I understand that you are curious, but we have something to do right now. Maybe after I finish my exam you could ask me anything you like and I will answer to the best of my ability. Nijire-chan, right. She then starts following the group below them as she scouts the surrounding by capping her eyes with her hand like a cartoon character for any more robots. Clone, interesting, he had them participate as well. The west side of the testing area where the clones were, a person dressed in black bodysuit decorated with gold plating around the arms and shoulders stands there. He dons a white tunic as well as a matching cape and hood that features more gold plating on the top of the hood. The cape connects to a scarf-like collar that features a silver mask on the front. He also sports a purple mask over his face as well as a matching purple carrier vest with red straps, and he seems to be barefoot. Weren't they here? Did they leave already? A gust of wind gently passes by this person. He then comically stands against a wall with his head down whispering something. Sun Eater, thank goodness I was nervous. In the control room, Vlad King sees the person on the west side facing a wall and shakes his head with a sigh. Vlad King, I thought Amajiki-kun was getting better, but it seems he is still shy. Midnight, it's who he is, Vlad. He is shy, but he can be direct when he needs to be. Nizu, he is one of the strongest students, and that title doesn't come without taking everything into account. Vlad King, if he could just be a little more open, I think he would be a formidable hero. Back at the site, to the south of the area where the real Izuku is taking his exam. He destroyed some robots that were away from big groups when he was heading towards the people he saw earlier, which were some 1-pointers or some 3-pointers. As they were hopping in between rooftops, Izuku sees the chakra signature he saw is close by the area. He saw 3 chakra signatures. Izuku, they are approaching the robots. Why? Gyuki, might be a hero or a student with license maybe. Izuku, but why? Wow. Izuku then realizes why there is a hero or a student with license in his test. Izuku smirks, that rat bastard. As he gets closer he can see a man of tall stature with well-built figure, white spiky hair with 2 short strands hanging down in the middle of his forehead. He is wearing a gray and white skin-tight top under a white tunic with matching cape and hood, black baggy pants with white shoes with black straps. The man can be seen fending the robots off by freezing them with an ice-type quirk. Ultimate move, White Haze Punishment, Fan. A cone-shaped white mist shoots out from the gauntlets, then hits the robots in its path, engulfing the soulless machines. Izuku Ice Wave? The mist clears and the machines can be seen frozen solid. The white-haired man exhales sharply, letting out cold breath that can be seen in the daylight. Not yet, my technique is still not perfected. Civilian, T. Todoroki-san. The man in question fixes his hair and looks back to the student acting as a civilian, then dons a smile to her. Natsuo Todoroki, it's okay, you are safe now and you can come out now. The young Todoroki looks up to Izuku and his clones, keeping his smile. Natsuo, are you measuring my strength? Izuku and his clones jump down in front of Natsuo, then they all bow. Izuku and clones, pleasure to be of acquaintance, Todoroki-san. Natsuo lightly chuckles, you can call me Polar Man when we are doing hero work, or in this case, in a simulated situation. Natsuo lets out another light chuckle as he is still wearing his smile. Izuku, what is? Suddenly the area starts to shake violently as if there was an earthquake happening. Clone, W, what is happening? Izuku makes several more shadow clones, and each of them flies up with one person in their arms. As they float in the air they could see the other clones were in the air as well with people in their arms. Izuku 58, good. Looks like we got everyone in the area. What was? Izuku doesn't get the chance to finish his question as big dust cloud rushes towards them in great speed. To retaliate, Izuku and his clones use the same wind style technique. Izuku and clones, wind style, great breakthrough. The fierce wind currents that were cast by Izuku and his clones merge into one huge tornado. Izuku and clone combo move, El Reno. The big tornado rushes toward the dust cloud. Clash of the artificial wind pressures meet each other in a fierce force, obliterating the houses in the area to smithereens. As the clash goes strong, Izuku and his many clones retreat to the entrance with the civilians and heroes. Izuku, alright, everybody move out, this is not a situation to be taken lightly. Nijire-chan, na? What are you going to do? If you want, we could help. Izuku dispels his clones and looks at Nijire. Izuku, I don't mean to be rude, but you cannot help me in this situation. I saw what was behind that storm, and its size is of skyscraper. Your quirk, or any one of your quirks, are not suitable for this big caliber. Leave it to someone who can take this on. He looks back to the catastrophe and sees the storm dissipate by the hand of a giant metallic hand. And that same metallic hand clenches its fist and sends it towards the entrance where it can see multiple signatures. Izuku, well, Octo-san, are you ready? Gyuki, have been ready for a long while, kid. Let's do this. As the hand reaches its farthest, it shoots out like a bullet out of the barrel. The three provisional heroes see this. Polar Man, everybody run, are they insane? Lemillion, move, 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 that is way too disastrous, what in the world, principal? Nijire then gets in front of everybody, including Izuku. Nijire-chan, I will try to redirect it so it doesn't hit the others. Nijire wave, 100%. As Nijire was about to use her quirk, suddenly bright white streak engulfs her. The streak turns into a giant hand and catches the thrown hand. Nijire, wa? Izuku, are you okay, Nijire-chan? Remember, this is her heroine name. Nijire looks up and sees that Izuku is holding her, but something was different about him. Nijire-chan, wow, that looks so cool. Nijire-chan, that looks cool, na any? What is that? Why are you white? Where did the cloak come from? Can I touch it? Can I? About to touch. Izuku, Nijire-chan, we have more serious situation in our hands. Nijire-chan stops her hand right. How do I get out of here? Izuku, just fly like usual. Nijire-chan, oh okay. Nijire quickly flies out of the pool of chakra and was about to fly towards the colossal robot in the distance. However, the fist that Izuku caught opens some compartments and starts to hum. Izuku, crap. He quickly moves Gyuki's chakra hand to Nijire and covers her from the incoming missiles. As he is receiving the bombardment, he sees that some stray ones were heading towards the evacuating civilians and the other hero students. Izuku, no way in hell. Polar Man looks back, oh shit. He uses Hiraishin and steps in front of the missile. Natsuo's eyes widen as he sees the kid in front of him. Polar Man, get away! Shimura Kyuen turns back and starts running to Izuku. Izuku, I will fail this exam Earth style, multi-mud wall. I wanted to put a gif of mud wall, but I reached 20 images. I think you can imagine the technique since it is a very iconic Earth style technique, and there are a lot of them like the Allied force did against Jubi's tailed beast bomb. The earth in front of Izuku rises to become row of walls in quick motion. And I wish I could put the gif of when Kakashi used mud wall against Obito. The walls take some beating as there were a couple of them that he had to stop. Izuku, nor will there be any casualties when I am around. He flows more of his chakra to the ones that are close to him to make it as durable as possible. In the meantime, Gyuki in chakra form throws the separated hand back to the sender as the robot was closing in fast. After some seconds, the barrage of missiles stop. Izuku stands up and then looks back to see the others standing there shocked. Izuku, what are you still doing here? Run. They snap back and starts running again. Polar Man, running, the kid got some valor, huh? Lemillion, running, phew, that was scary. Meanwhile in the control room, Aizawa stands up and looks at Nizu in surprise as well as anger. Aizawa, the hell are you thinking, Nizu? You almost killed them. Nizu, do not be alarmed, Eraserhead. I knew what the kid could take on, so I asked Powerloader to install few upgrades to the zero pointer. Powerloader, I still think this was unnecessary. Nizu, in a chirpy tone, well, it worked out, look at him go. Powerloader, Why, yeah, what if he didn't? We would have our heads hanged by the people. Aizawa groans and sits back down on his seat. Aizawa, what the hell is the rat thinking? This is too extreme for entrance exam. Nizu, yes, dance on your feet, Shimura Izuku. You will see what you get when you challenge me. All Might, who was sitting next to Nizu, could see Nizu's face, which seemed happy with what he was seeing, but he could guess that Nizu was not happy about Izuku being able to overcome the obstacles. All Might, he is definitely happy to see Shimura Shonen struggle, lightly shakes his head. Back on the test ground, Izuku returned to Gyuki and got inside the chakra again. Izuku, Octo-san, let's take this away from the entrance. Gyuki, right? Gyuki punches the robot away from him and charges Bijudama in front of his open mouth. Izuku, I will try something as well since I think I got the hang of it. Izuku raises both of his hands and starts channeling his chakra to the Bijudama. The inky black sphere starts to get surrounded by crimson-red flames. Izuku, I did it, I got the hang of it. Gyuki, a nice going, kid. Blaze release, shooting star cannon. The blaze release Bijudama closes the already close proximity between Gyuki and the zero-pointer, then starts pushing it backward in Mach speed. The chest area of the zero-pointer starts to melt instantly in contact, and starts to sink in it due to the tremendously high temperature. When the zero-pointer was all the way to the other side of the site, the Bijudama shoots out from the zero-pointer's back and starts heading towards the ocean in blinding speed. Izuku then activates his Sage mode and starts to scan the zero-pointer in the distance, evaluating whether he need to attack again or not. The hole in the zero-pointer is large in size, as it almost took out the entire section of the robot. Izuku sees this and deems that he can be certain that the robot is in no way to function. Izuku deactivates GCM and lands view. Was that too much? Gyuki, we. As Gyuki was about to finish his sentence, there was suddenly a booming sound followed by a tall wall of water in the ocean that could be seen from where they were. Gyuki. Izuku. The A-team. In the control room. Nizu. All Might. Other members of the faculty were silent as well. Then suddenly that silence was replaced with everyone, Aawiwa. After an hour, Nizu confirmed with the HPSC that there were luckily no casualties from Izuku's Bijudama. Izuku and all the others were relieved at that confirmation, as they were panicking, especially Izuku. Everything has settled down. Izuku and all the others were in the control room with all the faculty members there. Principal Nizu, well, besides the event that almost turned catastrophic, you can safely assume that you passed the practical exam, young Shimura. Izuku, right, thank you for confirming that there were no casualties, Bose. Principal Nizu, it was no trouble, as we were afraid as well. And of course, I think this should be obvious, you should learn to hold back, young Shimura. Izuku, still bowing, I will, Principal. Aizawa, if you get in my class we will work on that, Shimura. Izuku, thank you, Aizawa-san. Aizawa, After that, Izuku takes the written exam and the physical exam, as he is a special case. The written exam was not really difficult for Izuku except for some literature parts, since he only focused on the scrolls and scientific subjects such as math, chemistry, geology, physics, etc. On his physical exam, his stats were above an athlete level, as Cementos said that he could use his quirks. Izuku is now walking out of the campus ground, being escorted by All Might in his deflated form. All Might, you killed it, Shimura Shonen. Izuku, I thought it would be a breeze, but it was more difficult than I thought. Gyuki, and that going overboard part. Izuku, I know, looks like I have to focus on dialing it back a bit. All Might, Shimura Shonen, I need to talk to you about something. Izuku HM? Looks at All Might. Izuku could see the seriousness on All Might's face. He stops, then All Might stops in front of him. Izuku, what is it, Yagi-san? All Might, Shimura Shonen, I know how hurt you are after your mother's death. Izuku's expression changes to sadness, as he remembers the day his mother took her last breath in front of him. Izuku, it will never be easy for me, Yagi-san. She was the only person that was looking after me, and she was everything I had. Izuku loses strength in his knees and sits on a conveniently placed bench. SSHHHH. Izuku, everything I accomplished, everything I learned was for my mother. That loving smile she wears whenever I surprise her with new techniques. The hug she would give me whenever I gave her gifts, even though it was worth nothing more than few yens or just something I made. The stern yet worried scolding she would give, the wise words she would give, I miss them. All Might sits beside Izuku and side hugs him. All Might, it is a natural thing to miss your loved ones after they are gone. Their words, their actions, their care, their guidance, you miss everything about them. In time it gets better, it doesn't go away, yes, but I don't know, it gets lighter. Izuku, They sit in silence as the sun is low in the sky and the silver-gray cottons sway around the horizon. The breeze hits Izuku's face gently, calming him from the sad memories of his mother. They sit there for a few seconds under the nice weather, remembering the past times of when their loved ones were alive. All Might then suddenly asks Izuku a question. All Might, Izuku, how would you feel if I became your guardian? Izuku, huh?
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.